much good notes is a great sentence to start.
Oh, God,
interview.
yeah.
I have so much good notes. They're good. I got notes. There are a lot of them.
Such good notes I have, me. All right. Is it recording yet? Uh-huh. All right, so we can edit all that out.
No, we're going to give it.
I figured like I should introduce myself and then go right into the guest, and then there's going to be like a lot of horns. Like I have this pictured in my head, like, you know, that guy who's like selling stuff on stocks and he's like, go. That's how I want to start the podcast.
Do you have sounds?
No, I don't have sounds. I was hoping that
I don't have the horns.
You would have been prepared.
I don't have the horns anymore.
You know, on Howard Stern, when he says something, that noise is right there.
Oh.
This is a 2-man outfit we got here.
Wish it was 2 men in one outfit.
2.5 Men. Good show. Strong.
In one outfit.
Good shit.
That's not what I was looking for.
Oh, crickets. That's what you want.
All right, so I'm going to be like, this is all going to be in. You're not going to end up cutting any of this out. So
absolutely.
Because I can't believe this is how I used to start the show. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to Never Again Radio. So dumb.
What's dumb about that? I'm interested.
I don't know. I guess I'm just uncomfortable saying it. But I'm going to try now. All right, welcome back to Never Again Radio. See, that's so dumb. Yeah. All right, so
warm welcome from the audience.
Now, like how I pictured in my head is I'd be like, hey, all right, I'm your host, Mike Fauerbach. And this week we have Jim Pennington on. And then I'd be like, hey, Jim, thoughts on net neutrality? Go, go, go.
It seems dumb.
Thoughts on government space travel? Now, go.
Important.
Do your hands bleed from hard work?
Always.
Yeah, see, that's a good. If we had sound effects and just like, and then
but you have to
steer from
you have to have that ticking noise and cash machines opening and all that crazy noise.
And then when the guest is like, "What the fuck is going on?" That's when we just be like, "To the sponsors."
You know, when I'm listening to a podcast or the radio, the one thing I want is as many people talking as possible at the same time.
Yeah.
As many sound effects as possible.
And you want to be rushed?
And I want to be rushed.
I
want it to go so fast I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I definitely want the listeners to feel anxiety.
Yeah, because that sells. That sells like.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I was hoping to. We caught up a little bit, but what I wanted to capture was catching up on air because I literally haven't seen you in probably over 10 years.
Easily.
Yeah.
Let's quietly do the math.
Why did it get so... Oh, because as soon as that happened, the refrigerator went out. Yeah, I got a fridge here. Any girls want to come down for cold drinks?
You got fancy water.
I'm trying to think when... Because the last time we... Because it's not... When you left, it's social media and everything. Like, you couldn't connect to people. So then when it was connectable, like, I remember you hitting me up and you're like, hey, I really like your shirts. Like... What is this, like a thing for 9/11? And I was like...
That's right. I saw that, and I was like, is this like a 9/11 thing? And you were like, absolutely not.
That was the first year I was doing it because I was at Cherry Hill, and then that's when Nat was like... And I was sober and like was dating a heroin addict and like started this business and like... Ugh. And then Nat was like, hey, come live below my basement. Get out of this situation. So I was there and was like pushing the business pretty steadily on Facebook, but back then you could actually reach your followers on Facebook. It's not like algorithms like now.
Yeah.
So I remember you like reached out to me and you're like, yeah, like I wanted to buy something, and you're like, oh, this is cool, man. And then you're like, is this for 9/11? And I was like, no. And then I think we actually talked on the phone.
We did.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
And then I like told you everything, and you're like, oh man, that was awesome. And then we caught up there, but then since then it's so much easier to feel like you're connected with someone, because I love watching all of your Insta stories and like, but it's like I don't have to like reach out because I'm watching you cook and do all this stuff. You don't feel the need to be like, yo, like I know I'm watching your life. It's very bizarre.
Well, I quit Facebook in
good for you
2000. Well, in 2010.
You relapse, bro?
Well, so I quit Facebook in 2010 or 2009 because I would go on there when I was drunk and post really rude stuff.
Ooh, I did that for a while.
And I was like, oh, well, either I got to quit drinking or quit Facebook, so I quit Facebook. And then when I actually did quit everything else, I was like, I think I like not having this thing. And it's only been good for me.
I've taken breaks, and every time I've taken breaks, there's like a part of you get back. Like the last time I took a break was I went on vacation, and I was just telling the story last night. Halfway down, I was doing like an Insta story, and my buddy Jared's like, these are cool what you're doing with it. And then I was like, I am not spending this entire vacation through the back end of my phone letting everybody else enjoy it while I'm just like, So I just turned my phone off for the entire vacation. I mean, I left it on in my room when I needed to talk to my mom because I'm a fucking 40-year-old baby. So when I would connect in with my parents or whatnot, or moments of the day when I would use the phone, but not like when we would go to the beach and I would just sit on the beach, like I was just like, holy shit, like I forgot what life used to be like before you were just ramming a goddamn phone up your ass every day.
Every so often it's good to do, but I enjoy Facebook.
Put a phone up your ass.
Yes. I enjoy Facebook
filthy
because I think it forces me to
yell
read
more at people.
No, to read more and learn more so that I can yell at people. So it keeps my interview skills like on points because I'm constantly on defense.
Let's break this down. You like arguing on Facebook.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, Facebook is proven, like, unless you want to join, the Russian government, you're probably not getting great information on Facebook.
No, not information from Facebook.
He
means like people trying to argue.
I
and
swear to God,
points.
I haven't been on there in so long that I'm not always totally familiar with like how it's even working. Now. When I left, it was basically all status.
You know what happens now is if you like something, everybody
knows
what you're.
So what happens is I'll randomly put something out like,
can't even like
boy,
titties anymore.
Yeah, I'll go boy, I like this, and then I'll get random people to be like, how dare you like this? Don't you know this? And I'll be like, no, that's not true. You're misinformed. And then I'll tell them something. And then I'll get people from left field come on and say, no, you're wrong, and blah, blah, blah. So all I do is defend myself all day.
He argues on Facebook.
And it miserable.
It
does, but you know what it does?
Like it?
He does.
Yeah, because you know what it does?
No,
you know what it does? It's not... It's just a matter of it almost forces you to find better info and look more stuff up so that you're more prepared. So that when I really argue with people,
debate team.
So when I really argue with people, I have so many facts to back. Like I won't say shit if I don't have facts to back it up. So it forces you to do it.
That would cut down on everything I say.
I've
got almost no information, but I will say it anyway.
See, what I like doing is when people are arguing on like feeds like that, because it'll go on. And if you say I post a picture of something and you like it, and he comes on there and it says, well, I don't like it, and someone else is like, oh, well, fuck you. Every time they interact, your phone is going ding, 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 ding. It could do that 100 times, and then I look. And then I'll just start being like, "Hey guys, like Tom DeLonge's right to the stars."
You're right.
I'm like putting links to my clothing company.
Guys, I've seen lizard people.
Yeah. If it's politics, I'll be what's that guy's name?
Chemtrails, bro.
I'll be like,
put those up. Yeah.
Well, who's the guy that they that Louis C.K. called a lizard guy on Opie and Anthony?
Yeah, he was a fucking vice president.
What was his name? Whatever. But yeah, Facebook.
No, he's fucking creepy and he touches little children.
Good for you. I thought
you watch his videos? They're fucking creepy.
I don't know.
No, Joe Biden's fucking creepy.
That's not true. Joe Biden's like a truly great person.
No, but have you seen like the videos of him?
No.
No, legitimately, you just one day go on and look. There's videos of like people, and he gets really creepy. Like seriously, my skin crawls. They'll stand in front of the camera. You know, like the camera shot, like, hey, you're in the White House, blah 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 blah. Or he'll do something, and he'll go up and like touch people, and you'll see like their face be like, and he'll be like, oh, and he'll get real close, like he's gonna like kiss him, and then like they're pulling away, and he's like, like it's
that's
fucking
just
creepy.
Old people.
No, that's
my grandfather always tried to.
Listen, there's video after video after video, and it's fucking creepy. Enough that people are like, this guy's fucking weird.
That may be true.
He's local.
Have you ever watched Donald Trump try to kiss his wife? You want to see that look?
Listen,
that's what that look is.
She's here. because she
She's
wanted
here?
to become a citizen.
She is, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and
Bring 'em
gentlemen.
down.
Listen, she was like, "I'm going to come to America."
That's true.
Listen, that's okay.
How long has it been since you've been on the book? Like you haven't
On the book?
like off Facebook. The book.
Oh,
that's what the kids call it now.
That's
I'm
fair.
sorry.
You are going to have to catch me up. I haven't been on it since then.
Do you like
since
Instagram? I love Instagram.
I love it, but I look at it differently, I think, a little bit. I only use Instagram as another outlet for, like, jokes.
For
or
sure.
comedy.
That's the only I keep telling, like, a couple of my friends that I legitimately think would be fun to be on there. Like even Hendrix. He was doing that spoon thing, and I'm like, and then the one day he, like, posted something where, like, he was fucking around, and I'm like, dude, I go, why aren't you posting shit like that all the time? He's like, what do you mean? I go, dude, that's hilarious. I go, you're traveling. I go, I love seeing wherever you're going. I go, you should get on Insta Story more. And I push
But
it.
the problem
Insta Story
is
is the best. It's
the
the
problem is
fastest way to put something up.
It's not. It has a very short shelf life.
What is
Because
it?
it's owned by Facebook.
Oh,
So now all the
interesting.
companies who don't do Facebook anymore all do Instagram, and they do commercials on Instagram.
Yeah, they do.
So how long do you think it's going to be before they go, hey, we're not making any money here, and then they change it to what Facebook did?
I don't know. All
Same
I
thing
know,
that happened to, what was the last one that was shitty?
but you know what I'll do is I'll move over to the next thing that is coming around
yeah,
before
you
it's
have
bought.
to jump back and forth.
Yeah.
I just don't use Twitter. I don't like Twitter.
I don't understand
I'm just
Twitter.
now realizing, are we in, like, a, like, prepper,
Awesome professional studio.
a
Yes.
prepper bunker? There's a lot of, like, I just now am noticing all the indications of, like, oh,
No,
all
my
right. Is
my
there a
area
war coming?
My area is a lot different than his. You can pick his areas out.
Can you
I'm
tell?
noticing.
Can you
I'm
tell?
noticing.
Can you
What's
tell
all
what's
this?
mine and
Oh,
what's
you
his?
got the 3%er thing over there?
That would
Hey,
be
that's
me.
all right. I got a 3%er T-shirt.
There you go.
You know, in Chicago, that's a fun thing to wear around. But most of the stuff that I do, I just do because I
You like
can't. One of the
aggravating people?
reasons that I got off Facebook was because I prefer to do things as part of, like, the performance part of it, and so I do like agitating a bit, and
Yeah.
so what I didn't like about Facebook was, and this is probably the people I follow or when I was there, was it was such an echo chamber. I didn't get into arguments on
Yeah.
Facebook. I just had a lot of people who just agreed with each other all the
Yeah,
time.
no, that's what I'm saying. I
And
don't
I was
do
like,
that.
I can't watch, like,
Yeah.
why are we all agreeing all the time? And whatever, but it was like, this is very boring.
No,
Like,
but you know
I
what?
just-
It's good. Like the one day, like I said, I was walking around, and I have a 3%er shirt, and I walked up, and black guy walked up and was just like, "Hey, like I see a lot of white guys wearing this," and I said, "Has nothing to do with white or black, dude." And he's like, "Well, what is it?" So I broke the whole thing down. And he goes, "I don't see a problem with it." I said, "I know." I said, "But if you watch the news, they're extreme right." I said, "They're not extreme right at all." Because they at all. But I said, and that's the whole thing. I said, all the people that are in the 3%ers are police and military. That's
Yeah.
it. So that doesn't make them fucking. They treat them as Nazis and all the other shit. I said, dude, why don't you look up? I said, look up the fucking facts and double check all my stuff. And he was
I
like, that's
agree with
okay.
you. My whole thing about that is I absolutely agree with that. But the other side of that, too, which is just as important, is like, you see Black Lives Matter, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but no, because they don't.
Yes, it is.
No, because they don't. 3%ers don't say let's kill white people
Neither
or
does
let's kill black
Lives
people.
Matter.
Yeah, they do.
I bet you, if you're going to sit there and tell me that nobody who wears those shirts says what you just say, you're lying.
Oh, I don't have a video of it.
Well, a video doesn't.
Well, when
that's all
when
right.
their vice president is marching down the street saying only good cop is a dead cop, that's a little bit MO than, hey, we want 3% of the country to defend the Constitution.
Okay.
That's
We're
a
gonna
different argument altogether.
All I'm saying is anybody who promotes a thing cannot be sure of the people who are part of it entirely.
Well,
right?
listen, I can start a 3%er club right now and say I'm going to murder every Asian person I know. But
Don't
that doesn't
do
make
that.
me. But I'm saying,
Why do you want to do it?
But I'm saying is,
I
but I'm
can't
saying
believe that,
that doesn't make me what that is. That's not what that represents.
I can't
That's
believe
not
that.
to me
you know.
what Black Lives Matter represents, and I'm not.
Listen,
I
I gave them a shot until I saw them marching down the street saying that, and I go, oh, and then they came on an interview and said the same thing, and I'm like,
But you're saying,
but if I have a shirt that says
there's
Blue
more
Lives
people.
Matter, they say I'm racist.
That's This is
Why?
all like
That's what I said.
hyperbole, though.
But that's what I said. So if I have one that says White Lives Matter, I'm racist too.
I just find it
Well, because
interesting.
that's not the point of it, though.
What I'm saying is, why can't you just say all lives matter? That's
Because
racist too.
Those people who say all lives matter ultimately aren't really arguing that all lives matter. I mean, look at that white guy who was just killed by the police wrongly, right?
Which
What's his
one?
name?
Oh, yeah, that was the guy who got shot in the hotel.
Yeah. And wait.
I don't know. There was a guy in a hotel who was like drunk.
There's like a video.
And a cop was like, don't fucking move.
Oh,
And he-
I'll tell you
I don't
this
know.
again, though, and I'm going to reiterate this. Remember that I really don't like.
Oh, sure.
I don't have the information.
I would also like to
And
point out.
and for the case, I do. So,
Well, that's
and guess
fine.
what? It's justified. That's why he got away with it.
that TV show was
When I say
terrible.
get away with it, I mean when I say get away,
it
I mean
wasn't
he was
that
found
bad.
not
Yeah,
guilty.
was you know how much paperwork there'd be involved in that shit? Just letting this guy, hey, he did it again.
Wait, is it Justified a Western?
No, it was with
Yes.
the guy.
No, it was a new one with
The guy from Deadwood.
No.
No,
Justified is the guy from
he has a weird last name.
Yeah.
He was in that Oliphant is his last name.
Timothy Oliphant.
Yes.
But I thought he was on Deadwood. He was the
Was he?
sheriff.
I don't remember.
I would like to point out that both of you out loud said what you do on Facebook and then did it to each other.
Yeah, see?
That's what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
so to go
Yeah.
back to wrap around, I like that better. I don't want to do that on Facebook. I'd rather talk to people and I don't know. I only there are things I believe in. I'm more interested in kind of stirring it up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you're talking about. But I don't know. Sometimes, especially for doing a podcast or something, it's definitely I don't why this show works is because what you two are talking about. I have no fucking clue what you're talking about at all, at all. But I don't.
You know what?
I don't
Honestly,
want
you're
that in my
probably better
life.
off.
I don't want that in my life at all. I just like doing dumb shit.
Slowly kind of pushing away from all of it.
But
and I'm not saying
He's
I'm not
polar
invested.
opposites on that. But I mean, if this show was me and one of my friends who we agree on everything, this show would suck.
Absolutely.
But it's polar opposites. But I don't mind when people get into it on here about it. But I just thought that was hilarious. That
Well, it's also
what you both
at this
stated
point
and
too.
you did
I would,
to each other.
Well, I would say what's interesting to me now too is that I think that stuff is kind of fun to do, to argue and stuff like that. But at its core, the important thing now, and this is why I'm moving away from it, is that which unites us is much more important anymore because there's too much yelling anymore.
Well, because the main reason of that is that there's one side that's saying we're right, and the other side saying they're right. And then anytime they say, well, we can just both do it together, there's still a lot of people on both sides saying, well, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I know.
And it constantly just goes.
Well, that was interesting. You brought up net
Yeah.
neutrality. That's one of the few things that they're saying. Both sides are pretty much this is probably a bad idea.
I didn't
What, to pass it or to get rid of it?
I didn't know what it was, and then when I started
To
paying
do what the
attention to
FCC
it,
just did was bad.
I don't think so.
Oh,
What-
really?
Wait, what is
all right,
what
well,
is net neutrality?
Whatever your opinion on it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I read a lot on it because at first I was like, I don't know what the fuck they're
That's
talking
something
about.
I did read a lot about.
There's-
Why do you think it's good? I'm interested.
What is it?
Because
All right, so basically, what we got to slow down.
Sorry.
So basically, and correct me if I'm wrong because I've only read a little bit. Net neutrality, they are repealing it. Okay,
Yes.
and what it did was, so for example, Comcast provides your internet. Okay,
Yeah.
If Comcast starts providing a streaming movie service,
I gotta pay
let's
the bill.
say. This isn't going to happen. I'm going to get through this whole thing. He's not going to listen to any of it. So Comcast.
It's not you. It's
Comcast
me.
buys Hulu, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to watch Netflix. They'll basically say, this is how I understand it, because you're a Comcast subscriber, Hulu works really well and quickly. If you want to use Netflix, it's going to be throttled back a little bit. It allows them to do something like that.
Yeah. Which I believe they do anyways.
They have been doing
They have been doing
They're
it.
taking
in the
YouTube
effect
off
of-
the Fire Stick. Fuck off, man.
Doesn't matter. They already replaced it with Chrome and all that stuff.
I don't want to watch it off of Chrome.
So, So what I read into it is it as simple as I can put it before I even get into it is anytime the government gets involved with something, they fuck it up. So when they signed this bill in 2015 it was Obama, that made the government involved of the internet. So now they're in charge of shit. So anytime they get involved, they fuck everything up. So all we're doing by repealing it is now going back to 2015. But all that did when they did that is saying when you get Netflix, your page will load just as fast as Mike's t-shirt shop. But now the problem with that is they're not paying dick you're paying the same amount. You're paying the normal amount. They're not paying any more for their shit to stream flawlessly, which means they've been getting away with murder since 2015, being able to take all this bandwidth and use everything, which is why when you watch all their stuff, we're for net neutrality. Don't get rid of it, because now they're going to have to fix shit, and they're going to have to spend the money they should have been paying. Because
so
his
lost.
website now, he's going to still pay the same amount, and it's going to work exactly the same. They're going to have to pay a shit ton more because of all the bandwidth they use. That forces them to pay.
See,
by repealing it, it creates it's a thing like what's his name was saying on Andy's thing. This whole town's run. RCN ran fiber optic, the whole town.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the reason they did that is because, hey, we're going to run the whole town. So now if you get fiber optic, you're so much fucking faster.
But you're not.
Than if you get service electric. Yeah, you are. So much than you get service electric.
Yeah, it is faster.
So now they're saying, basically, yeah, they did that because they're in a business to make money. So now if somebody goes into a town and says, you know what, I want to redo the whole thing, and it's going to force people to make shit better. And they're saying, well, their argument is the scare tactics are they're going to bill you for everything. You're going to pay more. You're going to pay. Nobody paid any more in 2015. There was nothing different in 2015 than there is right now. The only difference is Netflix and all these big sites got to stream the fuck out of the internet. And I'll put all these extra ads in it to make revenue. Now they can't do it. Now they got to pay for all that, which is why they all say, we want net neutrality. We need it. That's why all the big telecom companies wanted it, because they didn't want to pay more money.
So the bottom line is what
There's a different way. It's just a different way to look at it. That's all it is.
What I see now, I heard that
on
point,
your end,
and I heard
nothing.
your point, and I still don't understand either
There's,
of it.
well, because there's a lot of scare tactics. They were saying, "Oh my God, we shouldn't have to pay for the internet." But in all reality, the internet's still a business. You're not obligated. You don't get shit for free ever. So you can go to a place and use the internet for free, but they're still paying to be on the internet to get their information from stuff. So people are arguing, saying, well, they're going to charge more and they're going to do this.
So what happened?
I'm only going to be up. Nothing's going to happen. All they did was now they're going to have to pay more.
They passed a law or something?
They just repealed what he did. They called it net neutrality. It was a way for big businesses to be able to do more shit and not pay more money. That's all it was. That's it. Now they have to pay more shit. So now because they got to pay more shit.
So how does that affect us?
Now because they got to pay more shit, people are saying prices are going to go up. Well, then you know what you do when fucking Netflix says we're going to raise your $5, don't buy it.
They already
and then
raised
when
it.
all the thing caves down, they're going to lower their prices.
I don't know, though. How could you not pay it? The Punisher was so good.
Yeah, but it's over already, one season.
Yeah, but it'll be you've already picked it up for a second season.
But I'm saying is for a while, you don't have to pay for it then until the next season comes out.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's good and bad in both, but I'm telling you, it's going to do absolutely nothing. It was a lot of scaring.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Do you understand net neutrality?
As much as I can, or I guess as much as I want to. For me,
that's
it's
true.
Like,
I guess I just don't want to understand any of this stuff.
I mean, every year I think I buy less stuff.
Yeah,
and that is another thing. Whereas, like, if Netflix goes up, fuck it, I don't need it. Like, and if like
I pay for Netflix Premium, but it's only because I give it out.
What the hell is Netflix Premium?
Like you get, you're supposed to get. You get 4K. You can't at my parents' house. They have a better TV, I guess, but.
No. Go on about your parents' television.
No, what I was going to say is you can get HD, which there is a difference because when I'm over there, I watch it, and then I can get up to 4 accounts off of it. So I have my own account, I have my parents' account, and then I give another one to Manzo.
Competition
but
is
I don't
always
care. It's like $15.
Competition's always good because look at how many years ago all you could get was Service Electric or RCN. Now you can say, fuck you, I don't need any of you, and you can get Hulu, you can get PlayStation. I have DirecTV Now. I don't have regular. I pay for an internet-based thing.
Yeah.
DirecTV Now. So now all these are competing, and it's going to be the same way. Now they're going to tell all these people, fuck you, and there's going to be so many different ways you can watch it.
Well, the way I see it's going is I don't even see...
My hope would be that... Because Google Fiber is trying to lay all over the place, you know?
And somebody said they don't have enough money. I was like, you don't know how much money Google has.
Yeah,
Google's putting out their own phone.
Well, I think...
No, they have been.
The nice thing will be, I think Google, if they do this fiber thing... they will come in and say, like, my hope is it puts all the communication industry down.
Well,
but I would love for it. I don't want it just to be Google. I want it to be more than
Google. My father-in-law does. He's like a
puppeteering
safety.
Ooh,
he's like a safety kind of thing. He'll go in and like check factories and
for the
like
49ers
OSHA standards and stuff.
Oh yeah.
he works, one of his accounts is Google. So he flies around the world to Google farms that he's not allowed to tell you where he is. He's not allowed to show you pictures.
Let's have him on
But
the
he goes,
show.
you have no fucking idea how much Google has a boat that literally floats in the ocean that is for the military.
Aren't they the ones that like pick up their employees and shit too?
No, it floods seawater through the whole thing to cool all the servers, and it floats around. That's how our military
like
is
those
doing it.
duck tours.
They also have
Half boat,
ships
half van.
off of.
They got ships everywhere.
He's just gonna.
I know.
Keep going.
I know.
They have boats
He's
off
used to
of
it.
San Francisco where they keep employees who don't have visas to work in San Francisco,
Yes.
so that they legally can work for them. Mike is so
It's weird.
disinterested. He's on his
I know.
phone.
I'm
right
not.
now.
No, I'm
not.
telling you, they own everything. But if they decide to do all that stuff, I think it would take a really long time to do. I know it took RCN fucking years.
Yeah.
But thanks to that, everything works better. But now, like, the reason is I almost want that to happen because think about, I work in Allentown. So for the longest time, all you could get was
A-town.
fucking Verizon DSL. So at one point, my internet went down and, like, it didn't work. My phones were all fucked up. And the guy went, I don't know. I think it's your phone. I said, no, it's not. Everything's brand new.
Yeah.
So he went to the substation. He comes back and he didn't say anything. I said, what happened? And he wouldn't look at me. And I said, what happened? And he goes, I went to the substation. He goes, I found out where your area was, like on the actual board itself. And he goes, so I removed the cover. And he goes, everything inside of it fell apart because it's disintegrated because their shit's so fucking old. Verizon shit's so old. And they're just using Bell Atlantic stuff.
I had
That's
Fios
been
in
there.
Virginia.
So now
Man,
this
was
is going
that
to force
fast.
everybody to fix their shit.
Yeah, I hope so.
What do you have in Chi-Town?
Please don't call it Chi-Town. No one calls it that except people who aren't there.
Hey, we call it here in
We
Pennsylvania.
go. What do we have? I have Comcast.
Yeah, Comcast is big.
And
Oh,
they
wow.
fucking suck so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Oh,
What about do you
there's
have
RCN out there.
do you
I
have
believe.
Verizon
Unless you
Fios?
pay money, Comcast, and you get like
Oh,
the
yeah.
everything package.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to a beach house and they had Comcast, and I go, fuck Comcast. Until I realized they had like the everything, every channel, everything,
everything's like-
internet, everything works flawlessly. It's
Dude,
beautiful when you
how
pay a
much
lot
is
of
it?
money. I didn't pay for it. It was in the
Yeah.
fucking beach house.
The best internet service I've ever had was in Virginia. I got Verizon Fios, and it was it's the fastest internet I've ever
Well, that's
had.
a hard line. If you have Fios, that's a hard line right into the building that you're living.
Well, they
in,
told me,
right?
yeah, they
That was
have
my brother's house, man.
they have to put an actual like reducer on it to slow your speed down when it comes. That's how hot it comes in off the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what we need?
No,
to
I
do?
want it hot.
We need
I want it hot.
We need
speed.
yeah,
But
we
they
need
fuck
a
with it.
rogue cable guy.
No,
who's
but
gonna
that
hook
no,
the studio
because
up.
one of my friends, he was so happy. He was like, "Oh, I got Fios, I got all the stuff." He's like flying around. I said, "Did you do a speed check?" And he goes, "No."
Yeah, see,
and
I
I
don't
said,
do
"Do a
that.
speed check." So he ran a speed check, and he goes, "I'm paying for 100 down," and he goes, "I'm at like 30," and I go, "Nope, calm back."
When I got the
guy
internet-
came and took some shit out, and he was just like, "Oh, there you go. There's 120," and he goes, "What the fuck, dude?" He goes, "No, we have to knock your shit down. That's how hot it comes in."
when I asked for internet here, they told me that if I paid for what the top tier was, they wouldn't hit it.
I can't get it with RCN either.
Yeah, and you know what else is awesome is that because this isn't residential and this is commercial, I pay twice as much as what a resident would pay. And
Yeah,
there's
because
a-
it's business.
There's a why? I said why would
Yeah,
I do that?
wouldn't you want business to have
He goes,
less?
he
It would
goes,
cost
well,
less because you're not using it as much?
He goes, well, if there's a bunch of people in the room, like if a bunch of people are using your internet, you would have to pay more. And I go, I live above an apartment complex, and everyone there gets it residential.
Yeah,
and I'm on the bottom floor.
I didn't understand it either. I said, if I'm at work 8 hours a day, why does that cost more than when I have somebody at home
I
all the
pay
time?
$50 a month, and if we were residential, that would be the highest speed we could get. I'm at second tier because it's
I pay for
commercial.
my house.
I argued with him. He just goes, "Hey man, I really don't know." He
Yeah.
goes, "I don't know
Well, no,
why
we-
you're paying more."
it
I
was-
was like, "Thank you."
we paid $10 more to go from 75 down to 150, and we're like, yeah, $10. I have yet to go over like 105. So I called and he's like, well, we can give you that, but your lines in your house have to all be replaced. You can't
Yeah.
use regular. You need to really rewire your whole fucking house. And I go,
the fuck?
well, then why am I paying for it? He goes,
Yeah.
because you're going to consistently get over 75. You pay for 75, you don't get 75. You'll get 60.
Right.
But he goes, if you pay for 150, you're going to get 90, And yeah, my internet's fast as
And
shit.
it brings us right back to the point of we need somebody like Nixon to run this country.
Richard? Mojo.
When did
Cynthia
you move
Nixon from
the
Sex and the
watch
City?
company?
When did you move to Chicago?
2000 and
Where did you go first when you left here? Florida?
No, I lived at Penn State. I lived
Oh
in
yeah, that's
Center
right.
County.
I forgot that's where
So
you
I
went
went to
when
Penn
you left.
State for school-ish. I don't know. And then I came back for a little while. Then I went to Penn State again, and then I moved out to Chicago. 2006-07.
What did you move out to Chicago for? Work or just get the fuck out of the area?
Because
I mean, was it Chi-Town was calling you?
you know, chai.
They call it the Windy City.
Yeah. I went to go to take improv classes, which is kind of a silly reason to go.
How did you
in
get into that
hindsight,
when
but-
you were at Penn State?
No, you want to talk about a whim? I was doing like comedy writing or whatever, and I went online and I was like, literally typed into a search engine.
Yeah, but how'd you get into comedy writing? Were you just not into what your majors were, or like how did you just get into comedy writing?
Wait, what was your major for Penn State?
Political science.
Okay.
And like philosophy. But I didn't really want to go to college, and I just went. So it wasn't really like I was really.
Well, that's because that's what you
So
were
it's
told
kinda
to
like
do
when I
as a
would
kid.
visit- when I
you
would
graduate
visit my
high school,
brother.
you go to a good college, you're going to get a good
Exactly.
job.
And then you're going to get a good job, which is like, really?
Yeah,
Political
no.
science? I don't think so.
No.
But the whole time I was there, I was like, what am I actually going to do with my life? And I didn't know. And I typed into a search engine, how do you get hired on Saturday Night Live? And I read.
I feel like back then it wouldn't have been filled with like, "Hey, it's Saturday. Fuck your brother." Like anything you put in now turns into pornography. I feel
That's true.
I feel back then you could actually find what you were
That's
looking
true.
for.
I actually also emailed.
I've never been on that site.
But so I went and I read about like how what the writers' paths were, and the one thing I saw that they all did, not all of them, but a lot of them had basically gone to Chicago and worked for one of the theaters in Chicago.
Did you have like a "fuck it, let's do it" moment? Those
I
are
did.
good.
Well,
Those are good moments, man.
So I was dating somebody, and she was graduating, and I was like, I think I might want to move to Chicago, and she was like, let's do it. And if it wasn't for her, and we're not together anymore, but if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have moved.
Yeah.
Because I needed somebody who actually had follow through at that point, because I lacked that pretty strongly. And she was like, all right, let's save money, let's go out there. And then we did.
Here's a plan.
Yeah. And so we moved out there, and I was a line cook at a terrifying restaurant.
Being a line cook's awesome, right, man?
Well, so I was like,
If you're depressed and want to torture yourself, cook.
well, so this place was interesting. The first place I lived in Chicago was about 4 blocks from Wrigley. Which
Did
is
you
where,
cook at Penn State?
Yeah, that's the word.
Okay.
Because I was always either a cook. I was a cook and a bartender while I was in
But
school.
I tell anybody who ever does that, you can literally go anywhere. And
Absolutely.
That's the
And
only
you can
reason
get a
I
job.
got work in Virginia when I went down with my brother.
The
Picked up
only
cooking and
reason
worked in a
I was
bar.
able to stay in Chicago was because I got the job after being a line cook. I was a bar manager for a theater called the Second City, and the only reason I was able to stay was because I got that job. And that's how college helped. It wasn't the school; it was the work I was doing while I was in school got me work. You know. Anyway,
The hands-on shit's always the most important in life.
Yeah, but you know what? It seems like every comedian does that too, because they'd be like, "Hey, I'm like the famous comedians were like, I was a doorman
Well,
at the comedy thing forever,
it's
and then they worked their
hours,
way in.
you know?
So
Yeah.
if you worked at Second City and you were doing cook, is that how you got in? Is that how you?
I never got into Second City.
Oh, no?
I made
What's Second City?
some big.
Big improv.
Well,
Like the
it's
Groundlings
written. Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's a huge. It's like the first cast of SNL was basically a cast from Second City that
Yeah.
they just hired to do a TV show.
Yep.
And so SCTV, do you remember that show?
Yeah.
That was SCTV stood for Second City Television, and so Second City is in Toronto and Chicago. There's one in LA that exists, and there was one in New York, but it shut down. Anyway, but when I moved out to Chicago, I actually went to a place called Improv Olympic, which is founded by the guy who helped create long form improv, which is what I now teach.
How did you get into teaching? I feel like there's so much we skipped over. When you were,
there is a long
what was the what was
So you're a cook, now you're a teacher. Go.
well, folks,
how it
thanks
is,
for
kids.
tuning in.
Just show up.
I was
If you'd
flipping
like to-
burgers, and now I'm a goddamn teacher. Go.
If you'd like to talk to Jim, it's Chi-town.net, Jim.
Chi-town Jimmy. I don't know. I don't know how much you want me to go into.
Like you got there and you're cooking and stuff. Like how many steps did it take to you were like, I'm sure, like, I don't know, because like what I want to get to is like when you go to do stuff like that, you're nervous and like you don't know if it's gonna fucking work out.
Yeah,
and then you go there and you're like, oh well, how does this work? You go to a couple improv shows, like.
Well, so I went there and I knew that I was going to take classes at a place called Improv Olympic.
Okay, so that was the game plan going in because the girl had a plan, very planned person.
And so I got there, but I was broke. Obviously.
For sure. It's the best way to do everything.
I went downstairs. All right, so we're 4 blocks from Wrigley Field. And that's where a lot of people move to when they move to Chicago. Because
is Chicago... is Chi-town expensive to live in?
It's actually an incredibly reasonable city.
Yeah.
If you look at
Virginia was like that.
Well, if you look at like New York, I mean, it's not even close.
My buddy Juris,
it's not even close.
I went down.
Well, Chicago is a city of neighborhoods. Nobody lives in downtown Chicago.
Okay,
like that's just not where you live. You live in the outlying neighborhoods.
Oh, all right.
So that makes it cheaper. Like New York,
it depends on where you are.
New York's like in the when he was in like the Village and he was paying like over $1,000 for a place like.
I lived in the Village too for 3 years.
I'm just saying he was a lot cooler.
And our apartment
than you,
was it was $11.75 and we had 3 people, so it was over $3,000 to live in the Village.
Yeah, he was alone.
Yeah, it's not like that in Chicago.
No, my buddy lived in Chicago. We went to go visit him. He lived
a
couple blocks
nice.
from the White Sox stadium.
Oh, he's on the south side.
But it was miserable. His car would get broken into every fucking couple weeks.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That would have happened if he lived next to Wrigley also.
And he said he was like, what the fuck? He's like, they broke my window to steal fucking cup change.
Hey, you lived by Wrigley.
But it was cool, though. I love
stadiums.
it. Yeah.
And also, like, it's really, it is truly a city of neighborhoods. You could be in that place on the south side, or you could be in Beverly, which is a beautiful, like, it really depends on where you are, you know? But anyway, I moved, and I went to the first restaurant. We lived near it, and I got hired as a line cook. And it was huge, and it's in a pretty busy area. And it was like, I was there for about 2 weeks, and I was like, man, how does this place stay open? Like, there's no customers.
Yeah.
I was like, and the menu's huge. It's a Greek diner, like 100 menu items.
Oh my God, those places are the worst to work at.
And I was like, but man, we don't have any business. And I was like, and we're throwing food away left and right, and I just don't get it. So, guy pays me only in cash. Yeah. So you see where this is going. So I'm like, this is weird. But, you know, at the time, I'm also like a fucking, like, pathetic drunk. Like, I'm just drinking every dollar I have, I'm rolling out of bed and going to work. Long story short, the owner's brother is this guy named Lou Pearlman. Do you know who that is?
Ron Perlman's brother.
No. He was the
good guess, though.
Like the big impresario who created Backstreet Boys and O-Town, and
then
fled
that was
the
my second guess.
Fled the country because he was embezzling, and this is where he was laundering his money.
Wow!
So that's why
you should have found that and then asked for.
Did you know that while working there?
Not. No, I did not.
Yeah, because if you did, you could just do whatever you wanted.
I know.
It's been like selling food to homeless people out back.
I love Chicago. I always said like I'd love to go back there. I don't know. It just has a different feel than like when I lived in New York. I love New York, but everybody's in a fucking hurry and everything is nobody knows who you are.
It's a rat race, man.
But Chicago was great. But I always feel like there's a lot of shit going on that probably shouldn't go on, but they just let it go.
Absolutely.
Like we went to a bar and to watch a college game. It was Purdue versus somebody. And he was like, we're going to go in this place. He's like, it's like $25 to get in. And I was like, I am not paying $25 to get in. He goes, no, it's like all you can drink beer. And I was like, what bar is allowed to serve all you can drink beer? Well, guess what? They do.
I know.
And it's packed. And I walked into it and I'm like, I feel like we're getting away with something.
That's
and they're just
insane.
not saying anything. All you can drink beer.
How is that not a problem?
But everybody was but everybody was just there for the game. That was it.
Yeah.
Nobody stayed after as soon as the game was over. Everybody left.
Yeah. They did when the Cubs were in the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
All those bars along that area. They were charging $150 just to sit at the bar and watch the game.
Oh my God!
That's not legal, but nobody's going to stop it. And to be honest,
who paid
it's
for
one
that?
Of the
everyone in Chicago
around the block.
Listen, the guy that I work
Why
for
wouldn't you
now,
watch it at your house?
his nephew's in Chicago
because they're right by Wrigley.
Yeah, his nephew's in Chicago, and he comes home every time and tells me all these stories. That all he did last time he come home is order fucking Cub stuff. And I was like, why you just buy it when you were there? Like, you live there.
It's very expensive right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. And I worked there, and then I became a bar manager at Second City. But I started taking classes at that place. And then after you're done with classes,
What are the hours of the class? Is it during the day or at night, or is it more like
during
comedy
the
stand-up
week,
type shit? Or
it's improv. So basically,
yeah, but I mean, is it like at night?
It's at night usually, or if it's on the weekends during the day. It's about 3 hours per class. There's about 5 levels at most of the schools. And basically what they're teaching you how to do is to put on a show. Like, how do I do an improv scene, right? How do we walk on stage, ask the audience for a suggestion, and then do a show, not short form. It's not like Whose Line Is It Anyway? If you watch what I do, it should look at its best like a really good episode of Seinfeld. It should look like characters and like plot and like all this other stuff, and we're just making it up as we go.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Now, it's also
When it works.
Yeah, and it's also the
I do that
least
with
lucrative thing to do in theater, which is already not a lucrative field. So, yeah. But it's amazing. It's a really great feeling. But
how did you get into teaching it? Was it just something that like...
So I did it for a while, and I'm really good at it.
Yeah, well, I figured that.
Well, so what happened was, usually if you're really good at it and you're about 12 years younger than me, you get hired by SNL. But if you're not, then you teach. Because like I'm pretty passionate about it, and I'm able to explain it to people in a way that they understand.
Yeah,
because it's not really just about making stuff up. It's about working together, about like how do we like develop ideas together and really like bring characters to them.
For sure.
How to stop judging yourself, like, and not in like some oh, sit on the couch, don't judge yourself, but like how do I get out there and do something and not get crippled with the idea of like, does the audience like this?
Yeah.
Like, one of the big things I teach people is like, the audience is stupid. They want you to tell them.
Yeah, they're going to go
what's
along
funny,
with what you're talking about. They
right?
do.
And like, if you go out there and you're confident, they'll follow you. But if you go out there and you're like trying to make them like get on board with you, they'll fucking run the other way.
Where do you think people's insecurities come from? Do you think it's like high school shit where like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people's problems with not being able to let go and to do things that they want to do, or they're afraid to grab onto an idea is because of things that they might have, like, something has had to have happened. And I feel it happens to a lot of people where you feel you're being judged.
I think it's in our fucking DNA that anyone who stand up into a big crowd of people, you're just instantly...
Yeah.
There's you're either not worried or you are. The majority of people will stand up in the crowd and be like, what the fuck, and not know what to say.
I think it's also part of it is like...
But some people can do that. Some people don't give a fuck, and they just walk up and they're like, hey, and they'll just start talking.
It's a sales tactic in a way, where it's like there are certain people who are just great at being salesmen. It's because they don't care about all the no's, and that's how you have to look at performance. You can't look at the bombs and care.
When I stopped, when I let that exterior down and you start interacting with people and like doing stuff, is bartending.
Oh, interesting.
Bartending was because you're essentially, you don't have to be yourself.
But you can be a therapist.
As well. You got people coming in.
And that's what I said. That's a good place to work on a lot of shit.
You
can be whoever the fuck you want.
Oh my God.
Every night.
That's when I first started like learning how to talk to girls, is because they were at the bar and then it would be like 5 girls and it's just you, and you're like, go over there and you start talking to them. But I didn't really start letting my guard down as to like not giving a fuck what anyone thought until, I mean, you do that with alcohol, but then having to do it sober was bartending was really what broke that down. But it's got to be tough. What do you do with people that come and want to do it but they never let go? And then you got to be like, hey man, like this isn't working.
Luckily,
get out.
Well, luckily, what happened with me was within that community in Chicago, I'm a pretty, I'm above the boards. Like, I'm just like, hey, if you can't do this, then it's not gonna work. Like, I don't have to like kind of pat people on the back.
Yeah.
And I do, and I'm not trying to pretend.
But I think they
to be
know.
Like some
I mean,
tough guy.
you think you know. If you can't, you don't think so?
Sometimes I think you're right, but don't ever underestimate people's ability to fool themselves when it comes to like something they really want, And what happens is it's usually the people who really want something intangible, right? What they want isn't to be successful at this. They want fame. And that is something you can't just
to
achieve.
driving force.
I
You
feel
know
like
what I mean?
anybody
And
who's
so-
trying to achieve that doesn't get.
Some people do. Some
Man.
people get famous just because they want to be famous, and their careers are short, and it's fine.
That's true,
But
too.
like, there are the people who are
Like
driven.
that guy who throws spoons all the time on Instagram. I feel
Yeah,
like
I've told him many times to just fucking knock it off and quit. No one cares about
I
your
did that
videos.
shit one time and got 2 spoons in.
God, you're so disappointed in.
I mean, he's on like what 300-400 tries. 1 try, dude. Step your game up. Hendrick.
Statistically,
You piece
by
of
accident,
shit.
by accident, a bird probably should have flew into a spoon now and knocked it into the fucking cup.
Which would have been amazing.
A killer video.
Yeah.
But it's also on the other end of that is the more he keeps missing, the longer everyone's going to watch.
Oh no, I don't watch. I just know he's killed does it. I just
I usually take my shirt and my britches down when I watch.
get comfortable.
You call them britches too. That's new.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
that.
very old school.
We were talking about the other day. I said
Nixon,
my
britches.
grandmother still calls pants dungarees.
Yep, dungarees.
Did you
is
get new
another big
dungarees?
one.
I'm like, what the fuck is a dungaree? Dungarees, slacks.
Slacks. So you're teaching now. You're in Chicago. What like I don't know, like what keeps you doing it? Like how long have you been teaching for?
I've been teaching since 2013, so not that long. But I like it. I accept it for what it is. I like doing it. I don't care if I make. You're never going to make money doing improv.
Yeah.
I love doing it. That's why I do it. But one of the other things that I like about it is it's great training for the things I do get paid to do. So like commercials. And
Yes,
TV.
that's what I wanted to segue into, and I totally forgot that was my other
No, that's
talking
okay.
point. But instead, I filled this with net neutrality and go were the notes because I was
But
laughing to myself.
Basically, I'm practicing all the
when did you decide to get into acting?
So when I got sober, I decided to take my career seriously.
Yeah, it's
Because-
weird when you take that out of there. How things start looking a little differently.
That's nonsense.
Did you?
Alcohol is only good. That's the
Did
commercials
you-
tell me that.
See now, because I started
Me too.
drinking.
I know.
I started drinking when I was 13.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really stop till I was 28. Did you feel like, and you'll understand this if it happened, but I guess they call it like arrested development, like
Oh,
where,
yeah.
like it was like I try and explain it to people where it's like a fast forward month where you like I went through puberty at 28. Like I was
Yeah.
just like, burp. And I remember to this day where I was standing in the kitchen and I was like, oh my God, like all those things that my parents did say about how immature, like. Granted, what I consider immature, like fucking around and saying dumb stuff, but like there's a lot of stuff that I was doing where I was like a complete and total shithead.
Yeah.
And it all like clicked at a moment, and I was like, oh, we're growing up now, Mike. We're
Yeah.
growing up. But if you don't take that break, like I mean, my story is my story, but like in those times when I had it, like I was just like, oh wow, like if you don't stop, like you're literally just completely underdeveloped as a person going forward in life. And then when
Yeah.
you see drunk fucking like just stupid people and shit, it's like, oh, like now I catch it and I'm like, oh, well, like, well, you probably never stopped drinking since you were 15 years old and your brain's underdeveloped and you're really like, there's just things that need to happen in life. Did those moments, like, I don't know when you started drinking or when problems began, but like, was there a fast forward moment where you were like growing up and being like, oh my God.
Yeah,
You start taking things a little bit more seriously because like the fog clears.
Yeah, and so
And it's
like
literally like that.
I mean, I was in that like kind of motion machine of being like a drunk drug addict, which was like every day, tomorrow's going to be the day I blank. But that was every day. Every day was tomorrow's going to be the day I blank. Tomorrow's going to be, and it was every day. Every single day was like
Those are fun.
oh, and it was years. And then my unemployment ran out, and I was like,
Did you find yourself being like I wanted to quit and my birthday's in March and I'm like, well, I can't quit. I got my birthday coming up. And then you got my birthday and then you follow that with St. Patrick's Day. So there's no way I'm
I
stopping
like this
in
one.
March.
I was like, well, I got a drink at my wedding, even though no woman has wanted to spend more than an hour around me for the past 3 years.
Dude, when I quit, when I did it on my birthday. And I was like, if you can get through March, you can get through this. And then it just so happened that my brother married his wife in November, and I didn't even have a game plan because I was just going to therapy and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no skill set on like how to keep any of the shit straight. And I remember I went to his wedding and I was just like, oh my God, because it was just I always looked forward to getting drunk at my older brother's wedding. Kyle Cummings' wedding was that year, and all we did was drink since we were 13, and he's like, "You're not drinking at my wedding," and I'm like, "No." That was when I broke up with a heroin addict, was on his wedding day. Oh. She was mad and goes, I bought a dress. Like, I guess I overlooked the heroin, but the dress. But anyways, like what was that like a moment where like you had the shit going on?
Well, the first year I was sober was a lot of growing up and like realizing stuff where I was like, I kept telling myself one day I'll get an agent. And I also like, I thought I was like the center of the universe. Mm-hmm. Like, so I was basically like, and then when I decide to do that, it'll be very easy. And it's not. It's very hard to do these things.
Yeah.
And so
but when you accomplish them, that made being sober so much better, I thought.
Well, for me, I realized something else actually after that, which is that I'm never actually very satisfied because I was like, I'm going to get an agent. And then I got an agent and I was like, I was really stressed, and I was like, this has to happen. This has to happen. Yeah. And then I got the agent. I was like, oh, yeah, but I need to book something. And then they were like, oh, okay, well, you have an audition for Chicago PD. And I was like, all right, well, I got to book this. And then I booked it, and they were like, and I was like, nah, that wasn't enough money. I got to get an ad campaign. And they were like, hey, you booked Airstream. And I was like, yeah, okay, but I got to book a pilot. And it's like, I can't, like, I was like, I don't have gratitude for anything.
No, but if you focus all that shit on work, you will outwork any motherfucker on the planet.
But that's why they love Chicago actors in, like, Los Angeles, because people in LA are very, and I can't say this about everybody, but, like, people moved to LA with the idea of being famous, and people from Chicago largely who act in Chicago go to Los Angeles to work. Like, I'm thinking
people
about
in Chicago put the work in and have a work ethic, and the people from LA think they're just going to be found.
Yes. And a lot of times, sometimes they were, but also it's like
extremely hot blonde women.
But then the thing is, they show up and it's like, hey, you still have to work. Yeah. Like, even though we found
you. What?
I know, exactly. But so I got this stuff, and
how did you go about finding an agent? I feel like that's not a weird thing.
That's
to
a weird.
do,
I was going to say, how do you get how do you walk into a thing and just be like, I want you to represent me, and they go, okay, well, what do you do?
So what happened is, because of how much work, I actually still have some. Thank you. What happened is, because I've been doing theater for so long, I didn't realize I already have a really good resume for an agent. Mm-hmm. So when you want to get an agent, you basically send headshots and resumes out to the agencies, and if they like the way you look,
they still select you. Then you don't just say,
no,
you're my guy. And
no.
Because I thought it just said you're my guy, and then if they don't really like you, you just kind of don't get really anything, and they give it to the people that they do like.
There are some agencies like that, but that's not where I ended up. I ended up with a great agency called Panessa, but you go in and you audition for your agent, and you basically, if they're good, they're basically like, come in and prove that you're worth our work, because your agent doesn't get paid unless you do.
Yeah.
And so basically it's like, well, we'll bring you on. Now go to work and go do all these auditions. So I'm constantly going out for auditions.
What was your first one like? What was it for?
My first audition?
Yeah. It's got to be fun. Like, I hate job interviews, let alone.
It was some.
But yet you're doing improv, so I feel like not a leg up, but you should be comfortable.
A definite leg up.
You should be comfortable.
Well, because a lot of the times when you go,
we're not comfortable, but you know how to act comfortable, uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And when you go in for auditions, the first audition you go in for, usually no one's there except the casting agent, and it's a camera. And so they'll basically say, like, okay, let's try it this way. They'll give you some notes, you adjust, you do it again. The callback is where all that stuff kind of comes into play. Because if you get called back, which I've been lucky enough to get called back for most of the commercials I've gone out for, that's usually when the director, producer, all the people who actually put money in or are making money to work on it are there. And those are the people you really have to, like, those are the ones you're selling.
Yeah.
You know, and when you get there, they're the people who, like, for a traditional actor, and not all of them, but traditional actors get a script and they memorize it, and then they're like, okay, you said you wanted a dad, here it is. And then the director will say, that was okay, but we'd like to try it, make it like you're a Michael Scott type. And then actors lose their minds, and they're like, I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? If you're an improviser, you're like, sure, and you just try a totally different way, and
Yeah.
usually it works out pretty well. My first audition was for a frozen food thing, and I obsessed about it and memorized way more than I had to. And so I showed up, and I was like, "Which one of these do you want?" And they were like, "Are you kidding me? You memorized this?" And I was like, yeah,
I'm very
well,
passionate about frozen sausage.
I know,
What's up?
Ditka's frozen sausage.
Yeah.
Yes, Vienna. It's a beautiful place.
but it's great. I mean, you realize quickly that you have to let go of your ego, because if your ego's connected to getting hired, you're fucked. Because a lot of people are like, why am I not good enough? And it's like, it's because you have brown hair. That's why you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I got most of my jobs because I have a beard.
I feel like that
tattoos.
applies into a lot
That's what
of...
they wanted.
I feel like that applies into a lot of things that anybody tries to do. Like, for instance, when I go to conventions, it wasn't until this year that, like, I would leave the conventions, and if I didn't do well, I'd be so depressed. Because conventions are so vulnerable for me, because it's everything that I have, I made.
Yeah.
Like, and I put so much into it because the creating aspect of it is like what I really enjoy doing. So I'll be back and forth with an artist, and we'll do this and we'll do that. And I'm getting the artist to change this stuff, and I'm getting super excited about it. And so is the artist. And I'm like, this is going to be fucking awesome. Then you make a shirt and it starts selling well, and you go to a convention and you're like, I'm going to sell 1 million of these. And you don't sell any of them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started doing the Walker Stalkers where I stopped myself and was like, hey man, like, why is this not working? And I'm like, oh, well, you're not in the right fucking platform. You're selling fucking t-shirts with skulls on them to people who are buying fucking Comic-Con shit. Like, you're not in the right venue. But then when I took my ego out of it and wasn't blaming myself, I actually learned what to do differently. And and then now I'm like, okay, like the last one I was at, we were down there, and Jesse was down there doing his thing with the Walker Stalker stuff, and I said to myself, I go, okay, this isn't it. And I go, and I still sold stuff there. I sold like 25 Guy Fieri shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, man.
Which I said was the funniest thing, because you would see, like, older people would walk by, and it would catch their eye, and they'd look at it, and they'd just make, like, a sour face, like, ugh. And then young kids would walk by and be like, yo, look at that. And it was, like, all day long. You just see people doing that all day, and it's like, when are they going to buy this? Like, everybody looks at it and laughs. If I go to a convention, I see something that's like, oh, that's cool, I just buy it.
Yeah.
But there, they do laps.
It's such a
Over and over
roller
again.
coaster, too.
That's
But once I
interesting.
took, like I said, once I took me out of the equation, it had nothing to do with me at all. And then now, because of that, I progressed my business forward instead of coming back 3 steps being like, oh, well, like I need to adjust this, I need to do that. And it's like, I don't need to adjust anything. I need to pivot and hit a different direction. But I could see where that would go completely horrible if you were going on fucking acting gigs and then just being like, oh my God, it's because of me that I didn't get this.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. It's a sales job. And I'm not.
When did you start growing? That beard is fucking ferociously amazing. It's so Viking.
I started growing it when I got sober, and then I just let it go, and now I trim it. It's another thing that differentiates you from everybody else.
Yeah, sometimes I'll rock the
everybody
mustache.
looks the fucking same. Yeah.
It's coming back.
I mean, you got like the.
You shake your head. I shaved. First of all, my father rocks that mustache.
Yeah, but your father looks good.
He does.
You look like a creepy used car salesman.
Dude, when I shaved that off, I had like 5 different girls that are like friends with me that were like, dude, why'd you do that? They were like, you were and
because everyone else was going, why does he do that?
Today,
it's Powerbomb.
Dude, it goes with Hawaiian shirts. It's so vacation. It's coming back for sure.
You kind of got an art teacher goatee right now.
What I'm going with next is I have because I'm starting to get into characters now, because now I'm learning how to develop these characters, and then with what I'm going to do with the green screen and stuff, I can actually bring them to life, which is I'm so excited. It's like weird Frankenstein stuff. Yeah. Just no, not here. Just go in the couch. Like, just let it go.
Everybody,
Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Yeah,
It makes it
please
hard for
don't
you to
look.
do it.
But you could go. I'll tell Jesse, and you'll probably be able to hear most of it. But I'm going with Jer to his buddy Bill's for Christmas. No, New Year's Eve. We go every year.
Yep.
So when we go there, Bill has a ridiculous house. Like, it's him and his I think girlfriend or wife, but everything they do, they make the house something better every year. So like last year they like put an in-ground pool, and he does a lot of the work himself, and like he puts an outside bar there. Like his house is very much for having events at. Like I think somebody had a wedding there last year.
Yeah.
So I started going with Jer, and it's a really good time. I mean, they don't have kids, but what they do is they set the basement up with like coloring books, and you want to bring your kids to the party? Go ahead. Doesn't really get out of hand. I think. Well, we started playing that New Jersey game Stump.
Yeah,
where
I
there's
remember that. I remember that.
You probably hate New Jersey games.
I don't play New Jersey. No, but I remember
It's
seeing
so
a video
dangerous.
of it. Yeah.
So dangerous. We were just drunk as shit with an axe. And then I felt bad because he has this really nice patio, and like people were dropping this fucking tomahawk
that's
on the fucking ground. Have you ever played New Jersey games?
No.
Like Stump and fucking. What's the other one? Like Cornhole.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like New
So
Jersey
odd.
plays
That's-
that.
Yeah, they call it cornhole, which is a horrible name for beanbags.
They call it bags too, right?
Oh no, I always thought it cornhole.
That's definitely what I put in my
cornhole,
mouth.
But I
I've
just
heard
love,
bags, I've heard.
I just love going west and just go, hey, you guys have Quates out here, and they're like, what?
Sure.
And they're like, oh man, and you explain with this, they're like, I want to play this game, and it's like, good, it's like $300 to ship the damn boards over here because nobody has it out there.
Yeah. I remember my brother took it to Penn State and nobody knew what the fuck it was.
No, they all love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they should
what's funny,
marry
you
it.
guys had Kate
Makuchi.
Makuchi,
on the
yeah.
show.
You know what sucks is we were in between studios and I had to do that in my buddy's apartment.
So I didn't know her when I lived here.
I did. She was neighbors with. Did you listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
She was neighbors with one of my best friends.
So you guys, I didn't know that she had done the podcast. I didn't actually kind of totally know who she was, but a week later, I get an audition after I heard you guys do this.
Yeah.
And this was recent, like within the past 8 months. I get an audition notice for this Netflix show. And they're like, oh, they want you to come in as this like aging hipster rock and roll guy. And it was to be her boyfriend
What
on this Netflix show that's just coming out, I guess.
Is that the one with
Oh.
Orlando Bloom? Were you
No.
overcasted by Orlando Bloom?
No, that was easy.
No, I don't think that.
That was easy. That was one. Yeah, that was. She's a sweetheart. She's a really nice. Like
I just thought it was going to be really
But
funny.
I'm serious.
because
She is
it's
no.
like-
But she's the the nicest person we'll ever meet.
Yeah.
So we couldn't be total like jerks, or well, he couldn't joke around like he normally does. So we were just being normal. But like I said before, she talked about all of her stuff. She's done everything. Like she does a lot of voiceover work, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Dude, before she was even on Netflix and doing that shit, they had their Garfunkel and Oates special on
Yep.
fucking HBO,
Yeah.
which they turned down a second season to do
Yeah.
other stuff.
But she did a lot of commercials, a lot of stuff. And
Call of
then,
Duty.
But the very next day,
That's huge.
It is.
I'm saying,
I'm a gamer, bro.
I'm saying the
Find
very.
me on Twitter.
She was
Twitch.
Is it? Yeah.
I'm a gamer. Find you on Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter.
I'm a gamer. I'll be at the deli later.
I don't even know the fucking goddamn gaming platform that puts people
Switch.
on it.
Yeah,
It's Mr. Barbecue Mittens on Xbox, girls.
He takes a sip from his cranberry seltzer water.
Whatever. They followed me on Instagram when I posted my fridge.
She didn't say anything about what was coming out.
Yeah.
Like literally the next day, she posted like, "Hey guys, my show on Netflix is out. I'm on episode 5 or whatever." So I was like, "Oh, how does that work?" I was like, "I'll turn it on." And she's
boy, did he
naked.
get turned on.
She's naked and she's making out with Orlando Bloom and Malin Ackerman, that blonde chick. And I was like, how did you not bring this shit up? That you were just going to be doing a show?
Well, she's also not the type to talk about
The other
what
thing
she
is,
does.
if you
Well, there's no, you can't talk or bring it. But you could have said off the air, like, "Hey, dude, I'm in this show."
I'll tell you what, and it's funny. It's a thing. I wouldn't have done it either because, and maybe she's different. So I'm not going to pretend to speak
No.
for her. But for me,
Let's do that.
I was
will.
on.
Hello, I'm Kate.
I did.
Hello, Kate.
I did an episode of Chicago PD,
Yeah.
and I was like in it, and I didn't say a word about it until the night the show was going to be on, because you never know.
Oh, if you're
And,
still
like,
going to be in it.
They could cut you at the
But for
11th
this
hour.
for this episode, she was not getting cut out.
That's fair, but I think there's also a
No, I
what is
know.
that, like a superstition?
Yeah.
Like
The other
I'm
thing-
afraid if I talk about it, I won't get it.
The
It
other
won't
thing too
happen,
is I
you know?
feel like, well, one, we were doing a podcast in Josh's living room, which sucked because.
But it didn't matter because we know her, and she was just like,
But
yeah,
she was
you know,
also
guys.
home and was like doing us a favor and literally only had an hour in between family stuff. So I feel like she wasn't in like work mode, which is why that podcast worked, because I just talked to her about high school.
Yeah.
But I reached out for her to come back on because when she did it, she was just like, oh, she's like, that's cool. You're down here with the Center of the Arts. And I guess she works with them a little bit when she can. Like, I don't expect her to do the show, but I hit her up and was like, hey, if you're home, we actually have a studio now.
But she said, too, I
We're
mean,
not in
that,
Josh's dirty apartment.
Yeah, but the good thing, I took a picture, a 360 photo, and we're going around, and instantly people are just like, look at his fan. And I'm like,
there's
I
like
scroll
2
up, and I'm like,
inches
there's
of
2 inches of dust, and I'm like,
he burns
ooh.
candles a lot, so that black soot, you know.
Yeah.
That's why we get the
No, but
Woodwick candles. They're a sponsor.
She, no, after she was the show, she was like, wow, this is like really fun. This was just everybody hanging out. And I was like, yeah, every time you come home, you should just come on the show.
Yeah.
How hard is it to do? Just come home.
It's hard to do a lot when you probably have enough money to move your whole family out to fucking L.A. and not have to deal with bushkill weather and like, I don't know. Do you like coming back to the area?
I love coming back to the area.
Well, you're also from Chi-Town in the Windy City, so you're used to the cold.
I am.
Yes, the cold and all that snow.
Yeah. Well,
So you should have, by the way, I was going to say, you need to bring Illuminati's pizza
yeah.
and bring all of it back, because the ones they send in the mail are dog shit.
Are they
they're
really?
only this big.
Oh.
You know when you go to the plate, you know they're fucking.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
Lou Malnati is the only deep dish is. And I'm sorry if anybody doesn't know this. It fucking sucks.
No, but
Lou Malnati's
that's different. Yes.
is a beautiful thing.
Listen, when we went there,
They put a disc,
yes.
dude. Have you? Okay.
No, you don't know. Unless I say you have no
So
idea.
Lou Malnati's is like.
See, but
this
what I can do
delicious
now
pizza.
is I can. What I want to do
Go to a
is
convention.
find a tattoo convention in Chicago.
Oh, there's a huge one.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, but you guys.
But you
can-
see what I'm putting together now?
We got a big place.
See what I'm putting
so
together now?
You can come and stay with
we
me.
can film. We can go try pizza. We can do
Absolutely.
a tattoo
But Lou
convention.
Malnati's-
It will change your fucking life.
They-
Content for the show.
when you get a sausage pizza, they will do this thing called a sausage crust. So you get no
my.
bread. They just put sausage, and then they build the pizza over it, so the crust is all sausage.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's fucking
Dude,
great.
when we got it, we were there and we're like, there was probably, I think 5 of us, and we're like, yeah, just get like 2 pies. Like I can eat 4 or 5, whatever. And they're like, no. And I said, no, just get 2 fucking pies. We'll get 1 pepperoni, 1 regular. Let's just do it. And we're like, all right, it'll be like an hour. And we're like, an hour?
And it'll be
I
like-
work at a fucking pizza place.
it'll
It's
also be
like
like
10
$80
minutes.
bucks.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care what it costs.
Yeah.
But then we went and they sat down. And I was like, oh, because it's like a real pizza. Like it's real. And we were sitting there. I took one. I was like, motherfucker, how do I get this home?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we send stuff home. So I was like, oh, okay, good. You send us through the mail? Like, with fucking dry ice? They're like, yeah, that's no problem. And then I went on their website and it's like a 4-inch
disc.
pizza. And I was like,
How was it? How was the taste though?
You miss it. Anything fresh is going to be way better than when you get it frozen.
Yeah.
Like the
So you
Carnegie
get- you get-
Deli in New York, and then when you go to that shithole to Sam's.
What are you
Dude,
talking
I went
about?
there
It's
with
like-
I went there for my birthday, and my dad usually doesn't go when we like go out to eat, and I usually just go somewhere with my mom. And my dad was like, "Yeah, whatever. You guys are going to the casino, I'll go." And I was like, "Oh, cool." He was going to go in public.
Yeah.
So we go to the Sands, and then they bring it out, and it was just a fucking sandwich that was pre-made
Yeah,
sitting in the fucking
Yeah.
cooler, and I'm just like the bread's cold. Like I'm like, get the fuck out of here. They're like,
place
oh
is-
no,
My-
it's a lot of extra lunch meat. Take it
my
home.
boss is
Can't
from
split it though.
no, my boss is from Chicago, so he
Chi-town.
goes home a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So now when he comes home, he brings. We always say fucking Dicka sausage. Dicka has
Which
a,
we've
it's
made
for
in that hot
the
dog
Vienna
machine.
factories out there.
Oh, yeah.
So he'll just go, how many hot dogs do you want? And I was like, I don't know. So he'll bring home like a brick, and then he'll bring home like a box of just Dick. Because I tried to order them. I was like, yo, these are no joke. Like he put his name on them, and normally like, he puts his name on it. It's fucking
sure.
Mike Dicka. Oh, you know.
Yeah.
They're really fucking good.
Yeah.
They're like ridiculously good. So I was
very
like,
good.
we're going to order these. It's like $60 to order them. And I was like, fine, fuck it. We'll just do it. But then it's like $50 to ship them. And I go, how is that fucking possible? They're
shit.
sausages. So I go, I'm not. So every time he goes, he literally comes back with a separate suitcase full of food. So every time he comes back, it's so fucking
He brought
good.
a couple for the studio the one time.
Yeah, we put them on the roller.
So the hot dog machine actually works.
We're sitting there, we're like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh, it's so good.
It's from the Holy Family Club. They were throwing it out.
Are
What are
they-
you, crazy?
They didn't close though, right?
No, but they switched out they got a better hot dog.
I've never been as sick in my life as I was after going to the Holy Family Club one time.
Oh,
I threw up out in front of the Lower Nazareth Rod and Glen Club as much as I think I've ever thrown up.
It's a good time.
Jeremy
man.
Sillenperry was driving, and a cop pulled in and was like, "Everything all right?" And Jeremy was like, "I'm all right." And he was like, "Whew, that sucks." And he just left. I mean, we were 21, so it was just like,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Do you talk to any of the old guys when you come home?
Oh, yeah. I go to Steve's usually.
Yeah, well, I know
in
you're still
Philly.
talking with him and are tight with him.
Tightsworth, Greg Tightsworth.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's got his own, he's running his own, because he did a lot of work for Cummings. He does, like, contract.
Remodeling.
Yeah. He did, like,
I built
Cummings'
houses with
decks
him
and
back
shit.
in 2001.
Well, is that what his father did?
No, that was his
Oh, that's
minister.
right. Yeah. I forgot. I thought he did that. Maybe he did it when he was younger. I don't know.
Tightsworth Carpentry. But we built houses in Macungie back when people built houses. They are again, which is nice. But this was like 2001, post 9/11, and that was a callback to the. Okay. Anyway, but like we built houses. I used to frame houses with him. I took time off from school to make money, and I used to frame houses with him.
Yeah.
He's good.
I feel
He
like
did my
those are
parents'
important
bathrooms,
things to
all kinds
do.
of shit.
Like,
It's incredibly important. I think that you shouldn't be allowed to enter the business world unless you've worked with your hands for multiple years. But nobody listens to me anyway, so who cares?
well, there's going to be tens to thousands when we air this. Am I not right, Jesse?
That's right.
That's a huge difference between tens and thousands.
Tens.
So there's going to be tens,
thousands.
2000s.
Well, there could be as many as
Possibly
that.
multiple hundred thousands.
of tens
2000s?
or ones.
What's Steve doing? Does he manages a bar, right?
He is a general manager of a restaurant called the Goat's Beard.
I saw he was doing like some gathering. When is that? Tomorrow or something? Not with Juggalos.
Oh, I don't know. They do like special dinners, but it's so perfect for him. It's like really good food.
I know.
Small menu.
I wanna go down.
They make their own beer.
Yeah, I'm
it's
going.
incredible.
I'm gonna go. I'd be stupid not to go because I could go down and film stuff and then like do like a walkthrough with him. He'd be probably would be down to do stuff.
No, he would absolutely.
But
be
what's
down.
cool is like he buys T-shirts and stuff for me all the time, and there's like
Dude,
these
I went to his. I went and hung out with him right when I flew in for a few days, and we went to a party, and he wore your "fuck hipsters" shirt to the party.
yeah.
He had the Phil Collins.
And what's
shirt on.
crazy is how much weight he lost and how in shape he is from riding bicycles.
I'm sorry. Let's slow down here. I wore a Never Again shirt in promotional press photos for a play I was in. Or am I getting no credit for this?
First of all, I did not get any of those photos or see them. You should get on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on the book, man. You gotta put it on the book, bro.
I guess I don't. Get
I didn't
credit
know
unless
you
I-
did that.
Yeah, I wore.
And first of all, you look tremendous. By the way, I didn't want to hit on you as soon as you walked through the door, but
You wanted to wait.
you obviously take care of yourself.
I try.
You have to. You're in Chi-Town trying to make
Well,
it.
I also.
Well, listen, if you don't take care of yourself, that wind.
If you
that
wind
wind
will
will blow
blow
you
you
the
right
fuck all
over.
over.
If you wouldn't have said no one calls it that, I would have stopped saying. I would just keep
I
saying
know.
Chicago.
I know.
He'll
I'm
just
well
keep
aware.
bringing it up. We got to figure out a way to go to Chi-Town, guys.
I'm well aware.
We got to go to Chi-Town. It'll just go on forever.
When I got sober, I started biking everywhere, and now
Yeah.
I bike all
Dude,
over the city.
When I lived in Virginia, I literally was in the best shape of my life and could eat whatever the fuck I wanted
Yeah.
because all I did was ride a 10-speed all day.
Well, I can't
It was
eat whatever
very
I want
Kevin
anymore,
Bacon.
but-
It was very Kevin Bacon, and was that Quicksilver? Was the name of that movie?
I love how you're thinking this is like such a popular movie. And everybody
Oh,
must
yeah,
remember-
it's my second favorite
No,
Kevin
no,
Bacon movie.
I mean, out of all my favorite Kevin Bacon movies, that's one
The
of
only
them.
reason I know it is because like I sat through it as a kid because it's not like it is now where you can pick stuff. I was like, oh, here's this Kevin Bacon movie, and they open it up, and he's like, the sun's coming up, and he's skidding out in his 10-speed, and I'm just like, oh, this looks pretty cool.
Is he like a rebel?
Terrible.
Like,
It
just
was
riding
like-
way
it was
too
just-
fast for the
It was
environment?
just like flat. It was flat.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the acting was him just being like, yeah, I don't know. And like some girl wanting to date him. Just, I don't know if I really want to do this or not, Karen.
I feel like movies were easier to get made in the 80s.
For sure. It was just Kevin
you watch
Bacon.
it and you're like,
it was his
made
follow-up
this?
to Footloose and was dog shit.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
so I like to reference things, and then someone's like, oh, Quicksilver.
I'll
and,
tell you what.
Like Kyle Cummings would do that and watch it and then call me, oh, that was terrible.
Cummings is so interesting. His
I'm getting him on here, man.
Oh, he's
I'm
out of
getting
his
him on
mind,
here.
and we got him to come on. He's gonna
with
come
all
on.
those tapes.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me.
But if you reel it back, he's always done that. Do you remember when we would
he used
just
to-
like go around and he would get the
toys.
Star Wars toys?
I know. Does he still do the toys?
No, he went through phases. He did the toy stuff a lot, and then he got rid of some toys and got into comics, and then he got into the comics, and then I think it was kind of one of those things where he realized that all the stuff that he was getting, like when someone's like, "Hey, this comic's worth $10,000," it's like, well, that comic's worth $10,000 if somebody gives you $10,000.
Oh, yeah.
for it.
That's like football cards and baseball cards too.
Yeah, so then I think like he definitely is in that world, and I can't wait to pick his brain. But I come in and out of it whenever I get a chance to see him. But he moved to Northampton, so I don't see him that much anymore. But I just got to catch up with him like 2 weekends ago.
Concrete Kids.
Yeah, bruh. Orange and black, we bleed.
No, we don't. In Nazareth.
I'm just saying.
Hey, I still remember Nazareth's fight song.
What is it?
In old historic Nazareth, against the rising sun, stands our loved alma mater, pride of days to come. Here with daily tasks we struggle with our goals
He
in
knows it, too.
sight. Ever mindful of our brother and the blue and white.
Yeah, we totally stole that music from I forget what.
I feel like you would
College
have.
it was.
I
It's
feel
just
like
so-
I
Yeah.
feel like as I was thinking, I was like,
We know we
am I
totally
right?
stole
this
that.
Is us, right?
Yeah, we stole it from
I feel
somebody.
like you would have
forgot-
been singing that while my brother and you roughed somebody up in the hallway in between classes. I feel like you guys did that
I
a
don't know.
lot.
I don't know if that's true.
No, we had
Like
to
as
know.
a
We had
joke,
to,
you
we
would
had,
see like we used
we
to
had
always do
to
that,
know
like,
that
you
for
son of a
something.
bitch.
Yeah, recite it, you fucker. No,
Well, we
no,
used
you had
to-
to. You had to know it for something.
It was a class.
It was probably early risers gym
class.
class.
Whose?
Early risers. You
My
don't
mom was
remember?
asking me the
They had
other
a
day.
song for that too. It
Well,
was
we
like
were-
early risers.
Was
Risers,
it Riders on the
we
Storm?
are
Are you singing Riders on the
early.
Storm?
No, that was the song I used to sing on the bus when I would see them running.
Well, my mom used to just asked me who my homeroom teacher was, or somebody kicked me out of. I got kicked out of trigonometry forever. Like, did you ever get kicked out of a class permanently?
Nazareth High School called my parents and asked them not to bring me back. They said, we know we can't do it, but we would prefer if Michael doesn't come back. That's why I went
How
to
do they even ask?
They just did it. They called her up and they just said, hey, like, he's a real problem. Because at that point, I wasn't even going to classes. I would just go to in-school because my friends
What
were
year
there.
was this?
It was ninth grade.
Ninth
Ninth grade. Because I
Okay.
came in and I was like, let's kick some fucking dicks in. Guess who's here? Boom.
Ladies, drop those panties. Mikey's
Oh,
here.
I remember getting caught smoking a cigarette by Mr. Was it Aztimer, like the little rat-looking guy? And he goes, hey.
Put Vaseline in his nose?
Yeah, he goes,
Yeah.
hey, you put that out right now. And I just go, what? And I go, are you like, giving me detention for smoking? He goes, yes. And I go, well, then I'm going to finish it.
Oh, you fucking piece of shit!
He goes, put that out right now. And then, and I was the only one getting in trouble. And I remember Antanasio was next to me pretending to pee. And he laughed. And I just go, here. And then he took it and started smoking it. And last time I didn't say anything. And then we went around the hall and they were like, exiting for some kind of thing where like there was a whole school was going back to class. And I went to turn around to go the other way to ditch him. And he grabbed my arm and I go, get your fucking hands off me right now. And the whole place just stopped.
Oh my
dead.
God, Michael, you are a nightmare.
Yeah, I was.
Now you're wondering why they kicked him out of the
I
school?
know.
This goddamn degenerate.
I didn't hear any of it. I was like,
didn't
oh,
get
obviously.
kicked out. I didn't get kicked out. But they did call my parents. And then I got home and my mom said, hey, because to me all that was normal. Like I left and was just like, yeah, whatever, fuck you guys. And my mom goes, hey, here's your options. You can be grounded for the summer and you can not do anything and you can return to Nazareth, or we're going to start over, Michael. We're going to start a new page and we're doing it. And she was like, you can go to Notre Dame. That's where I went. And Josh Mariano goes there and that's where you can go. So I was like, well, fuck this. I'm going to Notre Dame. I'm not being grounded all summer. And then summer was over. And then that reality hit. And I remember I was almost crying and I was like, hey, like, I don't want to do this. And they were like, no, you're already like enrolled. And
Yeah.
but it changed my life. I would have never graduated. Absolutely wouldn't have never graduated.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
What
'Cause
what was your fight song at Notre Dame?
It was, hey, who else does drugs here? And everyone was like, no one. And I was just like, what do you mean? Like, you guys don't do
such a
drugs on the
short song.
weekend? And I was like,
It's
no.
it's an awkward beginning of this song.
They're like,
too.
I know.
They're like,
There's also
hey.
a lot of ums
Wait,
in
what
it.
kind
like,
of
hey,
what
they're
kind of
like,
anthem
hey,
start with hey?
Someone,
Hey.
I remember someone going, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm definitely trying to get beers. And they're just like, what? And they're like, we're just trying to see if you want to play flag football. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I went and played flag football instead of getting wasted.
You probably had a good time.
Yeah, I did. I did have a good time. But then I was just like, all right, well, who wants to go get beers after flag football?
Boy, I'm tired. Let's go get fucked up now.
I had such a weird experience in high school, man. I don't know. You were like cool in high school. I was not.
But I didn't ever think I was cool. I wasn't trying to be cool.
I know nobody does. It's not only in hindsight anybody ever thinks about that stuff. You know.
But I mean, like when I was in high school and shit, like I just liked being an asshole and I liked the attention and I liked, people laughing and stuff. But I also hated homework. I couldn't concentrate. I would come home and fight with my parents over studying. I mean,
Right.
high school was a fucking nightmare.
I
But
know.
but there was also times in high school that like I transitioned so much where there was a part where if I look back on it is where I got sober in high school where I started hanging out with you guys in the overdrives and would go to shows all the time and I wasn't because I wasn't doing drugs.
Right.
Because I remember we would go to Perkins. That was the other thing I wanted to bring up was
Yeah.
when me, you, Josh, and Richard would go to Perkins, and Richard fell in love with Candace.
I know.
She was good looking. Do you
We
think?
dated.
Do you think she's not good looking anymore?
No.
And has
Candace
like
is-
10 kids.
No, I don't.
Where do you think her life went?
I'm sure she's probably really successful.
Let's
so
find her on
she
the book.
also went to Penn State.
Wait, you actually dated Candace?
Well, yeah, we hung out at Penn State.
Oh, did you dry hump her? Let's get real on the show.
No, I did not dry hump her.
So she like went somewhere. Well, then
Yeah.
maybe I'm mistaking where the paths might have went wrong if we would talk about Mary.
That might be. Aw, she's just a waitress in Perkins. Maybe she's also.
I gave her such a hard time.
everybody there. So what happened was I was in like ninth
My
grade.
eyeliner's tattooed on me.
And I
Shut up and get us Coca-Colas,
By the
Mary.
time I got to senior year of high school, I was basically like, fuck it. Fuck all this. And
Yeah.
fuck all of you.
Yeah.
And like, what ends up happening when you do that, though, in like junior and senior is like, then everybody wants to hang out with you. Because you're like, fuck you. And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, well, he must know a secret. Why would he not care about our acceptance? And like, that's when, because I had been hanging out with like Steve DeLong and you
Yeah.
and Richard and Josh and like all these people who I actually felt like connection with.
For sure.
I was like, the fuck do I care about this fucking idiot walking
Yeah.
down the hallway?
Oh my God,
But the
always.
problem is, and in hindsight, I realized like I did a good amount of like shitty stuff in high school to people, and I feel bad about that sometimes because I always hated rich kids. And so, like, if there was a kid who, like, his family had money and he was popular, I would go out of my way to make their life miserable. And so I always thought I deserved to treat people that way because I was like, I'm just preemptively striking. You're going to be a bully, so I'm just going to bully you.
Yeah, I mean, when
That's
I
not
look back on some of my behavior and the shit I was doing, like, I'm just like, what the fuck? But, like, I wasn't, I mean, I guess I probably did hurt maybe kids' feelings, but I feel like I was, like, and I look back on it and they were probably a little bit younger than I am now, maybe, but, like, there was problems where, like, teachers felt threatened by me and, like, lawyers were brought in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, there was one time I, like, even at Nazareth, I said something to a lady where she, like told me something, and I was like, shut the fuck up. And then she was like, what'd you say? And I was just like, I made a comment like, oh, man, like, I wish somebody would just, like, be able to beat a teacher up or some shit like that. And then she left immediately and went and told Mr. Boyd. Mr. Boyd took it lightly because...
Wait, this was Nazareth then?
Yeah. But then it happened again when I was at Notre Dame, is where I told a teacher was going to give me a demerit, and I told her that if she gave me the demerit, I would make her life a living hell. And then, like, I was like, meaning like, I'm just going to be an asshole every day and I'll eat demerits every fucking day because I didn't deserve the demerit, I thought, which I probably didn't. I was like throwing like science beakers out the window.
No,
on the
you
third
probably
floor.
did.
We weren't using them.
You definitely deserved a demerit for that.
Yeah, you.
Whatever. I've changed so much. So,
Oh, good. You're not throwing beakers out the window anymore.
now it's just soda cans because I want to ruin the world. I love to litter. But, but like that's
strange rebellion.
But that was the problem then. And then like her husband was a lawyer. So they obviously went and how was your day? Oh, well, this kid said this and he gave me this demerit. So the next day I get called into the office and there's a fucking cop and there's all this shit going on and her husband's a lawyer and they're like, we're looking into pressing charges that your son threatening my wife's life. And then now my parents are there, and I'll never forget it. We were in the meeting, and I wasn't taking any of it seriously because I was like, fuck off. Like, we're really here. So I put my head down and was pretending to sleep. My dad went crack on the back of my fucking head and was like, sit up. Like, and he was more pissed, like, I'm now here.
Yeah.
I'm not at home. I'm now here.
Yeah.
And then they made me, the only reason I could stay is I had to agree to go to therapy outside of school. I'm now realizing how much of a fucking lunatic I was in high school.
I had to go to
Guys, I didn't have any kind of problems like that when I went to school. I went to school and I did all of my homework and played sports. And
but I wasn't
graduated
trying
in high honor
to do
roll.
any of that
Okay, so
stuff.
here's the thing, though. And you get to enjoy your success now.
I walked away pretty clean. I don't really feel bad about anything I did because I wasn't one of those assholes that picked on people or did anything.
See, but
that's good.
But see, you know what? Going back to that now that I can realize where I wanted to really go with this is I don't feel bad about how I treated any of the kids because I feel like the core group of people I had, which was Mork and Chuckalochek, Schmitty, and maybe a couple other kids, we were so rough with each other as far as like if anyone would talk and be like, shut up, you fucking asshole. Like you just got like sometimes when I rip on people, they'll be like, dude, what the fuck? And I'm like, what do you mean, what the fuck? Like, because I grew up with Cummings. Like, all we did was bust each other's balls.
Right.
Yeah.
The only person that I later in life apologized to was Morgan, just because he got it the worst. And he took it, but later in life, like, we were having a beer we went to, like, an Ultra Kings thing, and I was like, hey, man, like, I definitely, like, ripped on you way too much. And then he walked away, and I was like, he is gay.
Couldn't just say that.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, looking back, I never looked at what you did. I know, like, you saying that is how you viewed yourself, you know, I didn't ever think that you were super mean to anyone.
I think in hindsight, it was like, among the group of friends I had, that's just the way we were.
Yeah,
and I never
Tightsworth was like, dude, Tightsworth. I remember if you bummed a cigarette off a Tightsworth, you had to recite what was on the back of the Camel cigarettes, and you had this whole thing. And I remember the one time my brother Richard just goes, "Give me a fucking cigarette."
Oh yeah, Greg, man, we lived together freshman year of college.
Yeah,
Greg and I, and he thought he invented the funniest prank, and I gotta tell you, this thing is so demented that I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? See, he would go to the bathroom. It was this big fucking, like, 4 stalls. There was, like, it was a dorm, you know, it was all these guys, and he would go to the bathroom and pull out a bunch of toilet paper, wipe his ass, and then roll it back into the toilet paper so the next person would pull his shitty toilet paper out.
First of all, the fact that you definitely got shit on your hands doing that happens.
I know.
That happens.
Yeah.
And then how do you do that? Completely nude, and then you wash your hands like a doctor?
And also, what I find is like the psychotic nature of the prank. Because
How
it's
often
like
was it
you don't
done?
even get to see the prank revealed. You just know somebody's day's ruined.
Yeah, but see, that's an all mental thing. What was the comedian said? He wipes his ass on the phone, and then when he goes in a hotel, and then he'll call that room after he leaves a couple of days later.
Unbelievable.
And when the people answer, he goes, "I just laugh my ass off."
Wait, what did he do? Wipe his ass with the phone?
Yeah, he'd take it and wipe his ass with the phone in the hotel room, and then he would call that room a couple days later, so when people would pick it up, he would just laugh at him.
Yeah, I remember we were at a party, and everyone used to wreck the girl's house, and she was mean to everybody. Whatever, but we went there, and a friend of mine, I'm not naming names in this at all, shoved her toothbrush up his ass, and then the next day at school, she was walking down.
I feel like that's something that Cummings would have done.
No.
I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there.
And this person was like, "Hey, did you brush your teeth today?" And she said, "I brush my teeth every day, you fucking asshole." And he goes, "Good." So Same party. Another kid. You remember those old games where you push with the buttons and it's filled with water and you can move like the basketball and you got to try and get in the
little
hoop?
hoops and stuff.
Yeah, dumped the water out and filled it with piss.
Yeah, see,
It brings you so much joy to this day. I think there's
It was so genius. That's so genius. I would have never even thought
yeah,
of
but I
that.
don't even know how do you drain the water?
There's a thing on the top.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. You could bust it off and then it goes back on. Alls I did at that party is it was for my birthday and she made pudding. And when everyone left the room, I threw pudding all over the wall. So I didn't really
That's
do
not
it.
even really a prank.
No.
This is rude.
That's just throwing pudding on a wall.
I know. So many people could have eaten it, but it was like vanilla and nobody wanted it.
I
think
would
we-
I would have had vanilla pudding.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Why would you ruin that?
How long are you home for?
The day after Christmas, we fly back.
Cool. Is your other brother or Andrew coming into town?
Andrew's coming in Christmas Day.
Wow.
With his wife.
We're so old, like my Richard lives in the mountains, and I see him now and then. Roger lives in Regalsville, but Henry's coming into town. But it's weird getting old.
It is weird. And also, like, Richard, seeing his, like, Instagram, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, your kids are getting, like...
Huge.
Yeah, and it's like...
They're like shooting bow and stuff.
I know, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm good. I don't need a boy.
Well, he, like, also... I'm so jealous of anybody who gets to kill their own meat. Like...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, he's on it. What's crazy is I was talking to him,
awesome
and
thing.
we were always... Well, I mean, you knew how close we were. We were 11 months apart, and there was a part in our life where I remember, and my brother said, like, I'm done smoking pot, man. Like, he was sick of getting in trouble, and I'm like, you're fucking stupid. And I said that to him, and I held such a grudge on him for... Oh, it was years, because it was like right when I really turned the notch up on drinking and was just like getting fucked up. And I always just be like, fuck him. Like, he's not hanging out with us anymore. What a fucking asshole. And it wasn't later. And I eventually apologized because when I got sober, I was just going through the steps and didn't know it. But like, we never got that close again. And then I started, when Joe Rogan started getting into the hunting podcasts, it crossed him over into Joe Rogan's world, which is, I love. And then I got crossed over into the hunting world. So like, that's when we started going on like hikes and stuff again.
Those are cool, those videos.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, you know what's even crazier is on that hike that we went on, because we went on 2 and then we went on 1 where I was like, I want to go destination to destination. And we were coming down the trail and Mandy Fishkin was coming up the trail. And she just double takes and I go, Mandy? And she goes, oh my God, the Fowlerbach brothers. And she was there with her kids. And she's like, last time I was here, and covered their ears, was like, we were getting wasted. Because that was like the entrance back by my parents' house.
Wow.
But we didn't start getting close again until he started getting into hunting and shit. And then he always hunted. He just never really got anything. But when he started getting into shape and being like more positive and like working out, and like when he totally changed, because I held the record for being the most in shape when I was sober, but he's out of anyone, he's the most in shape a Fowlerbach's been. And now he's getting deer and like doing all this stuff and whatnot. But it's cool seeing him do all this stuff and then being able to reconnect because of podcasts, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But now, like, we talk about shit all the time, and he'll text me, did you listen to Rogan's thing? But there was that huge disconnect. Do you still keep in touch with your brother quite a bit?
A bit. Not as much as I'd like, but I get out there. He's in Los Angeles. He's been there.
Is that his house, that little cool thing that he posted?
Dude, he
so
got
rad.
so lucky. That his old apartment. Have you been out to LA much, Jesse?
No.
Okay. It's interesting.
It's on
out there.
fire.
It's often on.
But
It's often on
it's
fire.
still on fire.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because, like, we were talking about Chicago being like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar, except the neighborhoods are a fucking million miles away and there's a ton of traffic. But it's same.
Yeah.
And so he moved out there years ago, and he and his wife got an apartment, and I visited them, and I was like, whoa, this is a tight quarters. It's not super small, but it was just like tight, you know? And he's like, yeah, we're thinking about moving, but, you know, it is really hard in LA to find a place.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was like, well, we found a place. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. And then he showed me.
I saw the picture on
like
there.
It's like a standalone house. And I was like, Nobody gets that.
It's super rad.
It's awesome. Like nobody has like a small house in Los Angeles.
He travels so much and does so much cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I'm saying is like because what his little brother used to hang out with my little brother, so it's like I always talked to like Jared and Andrew, and they slept over all the time. And they never really did anything dumb or crazy. I think one time I remember this. We had to pick them up from your parents' house because they got into old beer in the basement, and it was like old beer, and we had to pick sick. Roger up, and they were all throwing up and sick.
They got so
and
sick.
Roger's in the back of it was when Richard had his Blazer, and we picked him up, and we were kind of laughing. I don't even know if you might have been there or. Away at school, but we had to pick him up, and I was like, Rich, I'm going along for the ride. So like he's in the back and he's just sitting there like this and he's swaying, and we're like, what happened, man? And he's like, oh, like I ate a whole bag of Doritos.
What a shitty lie.
So then as he's talking, Richard just goes, well, how much beer did you drink? And he's like, well, I only had like 3. And I'm like, so you're drinking? No, I had Doritos. Yeah.
How was Roger?
He didn't get into trouble, man. Like, he couldn't fuck up. Like, I fucked up so much, and then Richard was fucking up. Like, at one point, my parents pulled him aside and was like, hey, like, you cannot get in trouble because we're barely keeping afloat with these 2 not getting arrested.
Yeah.
So, basically, he owes me all of his success in life.
That is.
I totally didn't see that.
I didn't either. That was really.
He looped that back around.
He had to go to. He didn't get a chance to go to public school. I mean, I ruined Bushkill for him because me and Josh had to make Martin had to make we had to make a commercial for a product, and the one kid was a cookie. So they were like, well, what are we going to do? And they're like, oh, well, we'll just shoot the cookie ad outside. And I'm like, well, I'll walk by in the background. Like, I'm like, hey, this is and then they're going to be like, do you want a cookie? And then we dance and the commercial's over. So I had time to kill, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to pretend to take a piss in the background. So I pretend to take a piss, and all
right. So we're going to gloss over this. So you're making a cookie commercial, and you deemed it necessary to. I'm just going to piss in the back.
Well, I wasn't just pissing. I was pretending to piss, and then I would wave my hand over my ass like I'm farting.
Oh, because that's the same thing. Same as a good cookie commercial.
Whatever. It was the only funny one.
I'm intrigued.
So
I'm just super hungry for cookies.
Yeah.
So
what a salesperson.
It was John Chuck's chocolate chunk chip thing or whatever. So they had it, and we had to promote it to the school. So there was a point where we were like, hey, man, like, should we or shouldn't we do it? And, like, Josh Martin's like, I don't think we're going to get in trouble. And Chocolate Chuck's like, well, I don't know. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know, dude. Like, this is just, whatever. And we showed it to his parents. They laughed. Whatever. Hey, it's funny. So I remember just hearing this burst of laughter, because when you got to English class at Bushkill, that's when you watched the commercials. So the other classes were connected to it with the walls or whatever, and all you hear is this brah ha 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 ha. Like, I remember Schmitty said he was on the ground laughing, like everyone was dying. And what's funny is Mikuchi was probably in there for that. So when this went on, immediately the teacher comes in and goes, we need to see him now. Oh. And now I get pulled out, and now this is a big thing. By the way, what he was given for that was 5s from everybody in the class because the students had to judge it. Now, I'm in the office, and they said that they saw my penis. And that, which isn't true, because even if I had it out, there's no way you were seeing it from that distance, especially at that age. And since the operation now.
And there's shading. Oh, yeah. There's shading. It was cold out.
Right. Photoshop.
Back then, bushes were in.
Yeah, exactly.
No one was shaving.
Right.
Yeah. It was just it was just a rat's nest with like a fucking acorn in the middle. So,
like a crust punk dreadlock.
It's a Matt Resigno's hair on top of my penis. So, so then they had this huge to do, and they were gonna expel me from fucking grade school. So they brought all the parents in, and they had it in this big conference room, and they said, we're gonna watch the tape. And Josh Martin's dad goes, is that the tape there? And they go, yes. And he took it and he broke it in half and goes, we're done here. And then everybody got up and left. Martin's dad's a badass.
Dude, Martin's dad is not a man I would ever fuck
He's
with.
awesome, man. But then they then they saw my parents outside and they were like, look, that shit was funny. And like, look at how upset, like I was so upset. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I blame that for my drug abuse really is Bushkill Elementary School.
Oh, Christ. Another. Wow. We just went.
So anyways, I really don't blame any of this. I just liked getting high. But, so then Roger had to go to Holy Family, and then we actually crossed paths again because when I was a senior, Roger was a freshman, which was cool. And then he ended up going on to – he did a bunch of different stuff. He worked at the tattoo shop Paradise Lost. He went to Keystone Kutztown, home of the famous ring baloney.
Yes, Kutztown.
Kutztown.
Cheers,
Hoya.
Oh,
Yeah. A lot of that in their
Don't
fight
you
song.
know?
So he left there. He went to Kutztown to become a teacher, and then he was working apprenticing at the tattoo shop for a little bit. Didn't know what he was doing. Then he was actually a horse farrier for a while, where he was shoeing horses,
that's awesome.
which was really good money. And it was like learning a trade and was learning how to blacksmith. But it was just kind of like, you know, the only way you're making money in that industry is if you're the guy. Hiring Roger. So then he got into the union. And once he got into the union, he got into the plumbing. And then he was still with Bridget. They're married now and have 3 kids. But, and they're going to have a 4th soon, I think. But he was going to school, and then he was working his union job, and then driving back and forth going to Philly. And then he ended up getting Apprentice of the Year. And then he went out to nationals and took 2nd fucking place. Jesus. And then like they brought him into the Philly and like his name's up on the fucking wall. And he said they like took him to these dinners and it was like out of a mob movie. And they're like, you got to watch now, kid. And then he's got like, you get calls from people that only hire people who have like the gold watch. So then on top of that, he was so fucking good at it. They're like, well, we want you to teach. So now when he retires from the union with his pension, then he's going to retire teaching and then retire from that with a double pension. And that's all because I was an asshole.
Okay.
No, but I'm so proud of him, man. He's fucking,
That's
he rules.
awesome.
I mean, he's still Raj and, you know, like, whatever, dude. There was one point when he was playing football, and I used to go to all of his football games. But he was a monster. That was the only time I thought he could fuck me up. It was when like creatine just came out, and people didn't realize it was just laced with steroids. But I mean,
it is not. It's found in red meat,
dude. My brother went from skinny Roger to gorilla
Jacked.
But he was also lifting constantly.
I'll tell you this, though. It may be found naturally in red meat, but that shit will put you in a rage.
No, I used to take. There was some other stuff which is completely banned now.
He's like, I used to take it with syringes.
No, I used to get so bad that we were taking it, and it was. You'd get so fucked up. But I remember going to school and being physically angry, like sitting in class, like I want to punch a fucking wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, this might be bad. I think this is making me change, but I gained so much fucking weight. I was fucking massive, and I was like, I don't think this should be right. And then they banned it. Because
you can get it now, but like, even with the UFC stuff, because I follow that a lot, they all they do is like change.
Oh, that's the thing.
They change one little molecule.
One molecule.
Well, I got really into weightlifting like 3 years.
Well, I was going to ask. I see sometimes you're posting doing like the workout. Were you
I
really
love
at
it.
Planet Fitness over here when you ran into Todd and Margot?
Yeah. I was Todd and Margot. I said Sergio.
I know. It doesn't matter. I can't wait to start doing that again.
Is they can suck my cock. That place is a ripoff if you're not willing to join. Because like I came in and I was like,
oh, I thought you had to join to go in.
Well, so I went in and I was like, I just want a day pass. Well, first I was like, can I get a week pass? Because I'm going to be here for a week.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't do that. And I was like, okay, can I do a day pass? And they're like, yeah, it's $10. And I was like, isn't it $10 a month? And they were like, mm-hmm. And I was like,
so I could pay you for a month, and you can cancel at any time.
No, you can't.
but see,
it's when you get the premium, because I'm a black member over there, or the gold platinum.
When I signed up over there,
I get to get ringworm on their lay down machines.
No, I knew when my next thing was going to be done, like when it was going to end, and at that time I got really sick and I couldn't fucking breathe right. So I'm like, well, I'm going to fucking gym.
I remember this,
and I was like, I'm going to cancel. So I went in. I said I'm going to cancel my membership because I don't want it to restart. And she goes, well, you're technically supposed to do it 30 days before your thing. And I go, well, my membership would restart within like a week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cancel it. I don't want you to do this. And she goes, yeah, and she just kept saying things. I said, I feel like we're going in a loop here.
Yeah.
Like, you just keep saying I should have done it 30 days. Where was that paperwork? And she goes, well, it was in the paperwork he gave you. I go, where?
How much do those people get paid?
Literally, it finally came down
$10
to, and I said, listen, I'm trying to be as nice as I can right here, but I am going to cancel my fucking account.
Yeah.
So you can't take the money.
So
and then she just goes, well, if you cancel them out, we're just going to come after. I go, you're going to bill me with what?
Yeah.
I said, and then I'm going to go and say, I'm not giving you $10.
That's what I'm saying is
and she goes, oh, well, and I go, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to leave here and I'm canceling my account. So I did. I was like, fuck off. I left. They never did anything. They never tried to redo it. They never tried to do it. They're just full of shit.
I would never have the conversation you had or the
No,
conversation
their goal
you
is
had.
they want to lie to you, so you keep just going,
Yeah.
fuck it, I'll sign up
Yeah,
again.
but who the fuck is doing that? None of those people are going to be like, I'm going to get a Gold's Gym one day. And
Listen,
be an
but
owner
here's the
of
thing.
it.
They try to fuck
Maybe
you
they
because when I
do.
did it, I was
I
like,
wish
listen.
they'd try and fuck me.
I said, I said, I will pay for a whole year membership. How do I pay for a year? Well, you can't. You have to give us a bank account number.
Yeah.
And I go, but can I just pay for the whole year?
Yeah.
No, we need a bank. Why would I need reoccurring payments if I'm going to give you? You're getting all the money.
Dude, you
Yeah.
know what? You know what the worst one to get tied into is Gold's Gym, and I did it in Virginia, but I went every day, and you know why? Because I found there was a girl there that I fell in love with, and I ran next to her on the treadmill, and I told myself every day today was going to be the day I asked her out. Only reason I stayed in shape. Never asked her out.
And because of that, you do this podcast?
No, because of that, I started cutting.
Oh.
Not weight.
No. Wait, let me put my pajamas down.
My dress is ready to go.
But I tried to, when I left, I was like, hey, I'm moving out of Virginia, and or I was actually gone already. And I called and I said, hey, I don't live in Virginia anymore. And they said, well, the next Gold's Gym is in Harrisburg, and you could definitely go there. And I said, look, dude, I said, I'm not driving a fucking hour to go to the goddamn gym. And they're like, well, okay, well, we're gonna connect you to the third party that deals with our credit card company, and you're no longer dealing with Gold's Gym. You're dealing with who handles our money.
Yeah.
Dude, it was literally a 6-month process, and they were charging me.
But you know what the best was? When I lived in New York.
The best was when I got out of that, man. I felt like a free man.
Yeah. No, when I lived in New York, you'd see all the gyms like on the second floor, and you're like, oh man, it's like I think I'm gonna go to the gym. So you go to these gyms, and it's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I was like, this blows. And some dude was just like, you can go to like the YMCAs because they're owned by the Parks Foundation. You make a $30 donation, and they give you a pass that you can go to any Parks Foundation. There's gyms throughout the whole city, and I'm like, look at these assholes paying thousands. I paid $30.
Yeah, but the YMCA in Nazareth's a fucking ripoff.
Well, yeah, because that's not the real YMCA. It's supposed to be like helpful, like
No,
everybody's allowed to go.
Nothing's helpful there.
A family membership, I think, is $600
Jesus.
Yep. Last time I was there, it was like,
and if you want to take classes, you have to pay on top
Of
of it.
course,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Well, I got really into, for the past
Capoeira.
3 years I've been
Yeah,
doing.
dance fighting's really serious, guys. He brings it up all the time, but it's a serious fucking thing.
I've been boxing and doing Brazilian
Fuck
jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
Good
You're
for
a
you.
jiu-jitsu?
Well, so we're talking about these prices. My buddy teaches for Valco, which is a direct Gracie student, and he teaches, and so I've done a bunch with him. But like the jiu-jitsu schools are like similarly like they're not doing this price gouging, which is awesome.
Yeah.
They're very upfront about their pricing,
for
which
sure.
is awesome. Unfortunately, it's incredibly expensive.
It's expensive,
Especially if you go to a school where they know what they're doing.
and it's worth it. It's
For
like
sure.
it's
$30 a month, and they let you go like once or twice a week. That's
Oh
usually-
man, in Chicago, I mean, if you want to learn it, you got to go 3 or 4 times a week, right?
No, my brother just won.
Oh, his brother go.
My brother's in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
He's a brown belt. He just went
wow.
to California, and he won. What was it? The middleweight brown belt master. So it was IBJJF Worlds.
Dude, that's
So, yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, so he's under Pedro Sauer, which is like considered a Gracie, like
Okay.
they consider him. So
Yeah.
Pedro Sauer is a Gracie subsidiary kind of thing, and he's considered to be up there.
Well, I mean,
so when
'cause-
he won it, but I was telling him, I said, so he's been a brown belt for a while now. He's already a black belt in judo, so he did this. So I said he's a brown belt for a while, so he was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. He goes, I'm not going to come home for Christmas because because this guy that beat me in the last tournament, he like popped his knee out in the middle of the fucking thing. So he's like, I don't like him. So he moved up to middleweight. So I'm going to move to middleweight. And I said, well, you're not even anywhere close to that. He goes, I don't care. I'm going to move up. And I have that guy the first match, but he went and won it. And then I'm looking on his Facebook page and I said, congratulations. And then he put the picture of him standing on a podium. And then it just says Pedro Sauer, like, congratulations, man, you deserve it. And I'm like, the guy who runs the whole thing just commented on your page. Congratulations. And I'm like, you are so getting your black belt, like, really soon.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, he loves it.
That is fucking
He loves it. But that kind of thing, like, to do what he does, he lives in Idaho. He's been out there forever.
Well, big potato guy.
He has no kids, no nothing. Like, that's what he does.
He knows one thing about Idaho.
He's doing that.
And
it's potatoes.
I picture farms and barns and mostly men working with their hands.
I feel like jiu-jitsu's great. You got to look at where you're going because it's popular now, and like you got to go to a Gracie offshoot or 10th Planet. And I like gi. Like, I love it.
Well, he did it because of judo. He was used to gi.
Judo's so fun.
But it's different because the thing he just went in was no gi, but he normally competes with a gi because he said there's so many different chokes and so many different things. But he loves it when he comes home because we know the 10th Planet guys, and they let him jump in, and he was just like, this is great, not having a gi. Yeah. So he'll just randomly be like, I'm not coming for Christmas. I'm going to join this jiu-jitsu tournament.
My favorite part about jiu-jitsu is like, because I was interested by it, and I knew Zach and JM, and then they kind of like, it was so weird how we met them. Like, we met them through Dan from Cryo, and then like they wanted to use the studio because they had Eddie Bravo on their podcast, but they didn't have a place to do it, so they came to the studio. And I didn't even sit in on it. I was watching fights in the other room, and it was just kind of like whatever. And then we interviewed them eventually, and then like I just ended up becoming friends with them. And then like I started paying attention to jiu-jitsu more, and Zach would be like, "Yo, dude, just come down." But it was like I got out of work and you cook, you know what you smell like. Yeah. Who the fuck wants to be? Onion guy's here again. And next thing you know, I'm Onion nickname.
All right, you just did another fucking leap there. And also, I'll say this. You may not feel like doing it at the end of the day, but that makes it more...
That's why...
It's better.
Well, that's why I asked you about what it was like to force yourself to go into the improv stuff, because like I would go, Zach would be like, well, just sit in on classes, and it's intimidating. It's like going into
those things
Cobra Kai.
It's just like going to the gym. You don't want to go there, but when you're there, it's great, and you're glad you did.
I'm not intimidated.
It's also just like the gym in the sense of like, unless you get you never get better until you get to know the people.
Yeah, but the thing is too, and it's an eye-opening thing, and we had on my old coach when I used to go, and I would go and take Muay Thai, and then I would take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from the same place. So I'd go one day do that, and one day do the other. And I still remember, it was like a free week of classes to go try it. And the very first day, I got the shit beat out of me by a guy who was in the goddamn The Wrestler. You know the movie The Wrestler?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, the guy that's local, one of the guys, he walks into the store, and he's hitting him with pan, like the pan.
Yeah.
The guy's massive. Okay, he's 265 pounds, and he's like, "Well, you're my size," and I was like, "Yeah, but you have muscles." So I went home. I still remember sitting there, and I told my wife, I was like, "They were working on ground and pound. I wrestled, but I was laying on the ground, and he were in mount, and it was like get out." And I just remember this large man raining down punches and sweating on me, and I'm like, I can't move. I'm being sweated. Like it was, and I remember as soon as I walked outside, I vomited, and I was like, I don't have to fucking do this.
No.
I was so,
but then it kicked in. I was like, I played football and wrestled and like I remember, like I can do it.
I don't know.
So it made me go every time.
I don't know why I was so intimidated by it, because it's
new. It's just new and it's weird.
And
it's
then like I sat in
and
on
it's hard.
You don't realize how tired you get.
And when you start watching it too, I think you realize how much work you're going to have to do.
But it's beneficial. Like I said, when you do all that, you realize what goes into it. So when you watch the fights, it's so much better.
When I actually did it and like took one class, and it was awesome because I didn't know how like Zach and JM were going to be, because I mean I just didn't know how it was going to be. But then they were just awesome. Like they were like, hey Mike, you know, like you move this.
Yeah, because it could have went the other way. When it's
like, what are you doing, dickhead?
Like, I feel that's more like the karate thing. Yeah. They bring you in, they be like, let's bust your fucking ass, and they like. I think so, but
like once I took the class, like they were like, well, what do you think? And I was like, oh my God, dude. I'm like, this is so endless because and like for somebody like me who's obsessed on like patterns and how to do stuff.
I just
like,
don't have time.
I'm making
and they always
time,
say
man.
that. They're like, oh, you got to make time.
I'm
going
to
to
do
fucking
it.
kids. I come home from work.
I don't.
I ate dinner. I made them dinner. I gave them a bath and a shower, and I came here. This is during what time will I have?
No, but because I took that one class and I never made it back, and every day I'm like, oh God, I just want to do jujitsu. I'm doing it Saturday mornings now. I said it out on social media and was like, if anyone wants to start coming to the classes with me, I'm going on Saturdays because I want to grab a couple people. But that was the other thing I wanted to go back to is the jiu-jitsu community as a whole. It's so awesome. Like I went to the tournaments that they put on where it's like show the art, and it's like legit fucking dudes who like, if you win show the art, you're more than likely getting on EBI. So like, when these guys were like doing all this shit, they're trying to kill each other, and then when it's over, they're like hugging each other and being like, "Oh, the technique you were using on that," and then like the whole community, it was like going to like a kid's football game, and all the parents were nice. You know what I mean? Like, And then I said to Zach because I shared a room with Zach, and then we were just talking the whole time, and I was like, dude, I'm like, this is so awesome. I'm like, everyone's so cool. There's no judgment here. It's these people who have all these crazy things going on in their lives, and then they come here to just do this like expressive art shit. And I'm like, this is awesome. And then that's when I fell in love with it. And then that's when I was like, I want to do this all the time. I can't believe I thought anyone was going to even judge me, which is why I asked about like, with like the improv stuff where like people feel freed about being judged. But once I realized that, then now I'm going to make time. And as soon as next week, I'm going every fucking Saturday. And then I'm going to try, because Zach was like, just try and do two times. But they also do fucking kickboxing there, because JM grew up doing kickboxing. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I want to do jiu-jitsu and kickbox?
Well,
I
they
can
usually
fight
do
my brothers.
Jiu-jitsu, judo. We do boxing, too.
I've always wanted to
Listen,
do boxing.
Boxing is such a good thing to take because it's functional. So in everyday life, it's functional as far as if anything would ever happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I always say to my brother, too. It's good that you're good on the ground. You can do all that stuff. But if you're in a fight in the real world, if you go to the ground, all of his buddies are going to fucking kick you in the head.
Yeah.
So boxing is a good thing to at least take. I'm not saying you have to be a fucking Golden Gloves boxer, but just to learn how to properly throw and turn over the punch and actually get power out of it is fucking above. And even when I did the kickboxing thing, just to learn how to properly do a leg kick. Properly.
Yeah.
And these little kids would come up and hit these fucking bags. You'd hear them like
popping
across the thing, and I was like, that little fucking kid's like 80 pounds, and I'm sitting there lumbering, like throwing and I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And I still remember the day the guy pulled me aside. He was like, you got to learn how to leg kick. Like, you got to figure it out. And I was like, I'm kicking. He's like, no. And he pulled me aside, and after he did, I was like, oh, that's how you do it. And ever since then, I'm like, this is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
I loved it. But just to be able to work hands is the most important thing. And you don't realize how out of shape you are when they go hit that heavy bag for a minute.
Yeah.
After a minute, you're like, I can't lift my arms anymore. I'm fucking tired.
Every Wednesday, I work out with this guy who used to do MMA, but he's maybe got CTE now, so he doesn't fight anymore. But he is a boxer, and so we both work at a boxing gym in Chicago, and we'll do 8
What a
rounds
man
on
thing
the
to
bags.
do. Box in Chi-Town.
Well, the thing... Shouldn't have said anything. I really...
They call him the Windy City Nightmare.
I can't wait to name the podcast Chi-Town.
That's what it's going to be.
Well, we'll do 8 rounds on the bags.
Yeah.
And we'll
That's
only
tough,
do
man.
we'll only do 30-second round breaks.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, I mean, I can't. My arms don't.
No.
work, you know.
No.
But it's great. I stopped sparring recently because
I
A
never
lot
did,
of
you
the
know what?
fighters aren't
Listen,
sparring anymore.
I never did.
because I can't. Like, I honestly. First of all, the last time I fucking
Well,
sparred,
your career.
the last time I
Yeah.
fucking sparred, I wasn't going to, but it's one of those things, like you were saying, like you
Yeah.
leave the gym, you throw up, but you're like, I got to do that again.
Yeah, I have to do it.
So I went back, and he was like, "Oh, I got this guy, and do you want to spar tonight?" And I was like, "I got an audition tomorrow," and he was like, "It's up to you." And I was like, "Yeah, what could happen?" So three rounds into this spar, he fucking I don't know what I did, and he got me as clean head on in the nose as you could possibly hit somebody. And it was one of those times where when it hits, you know immediately.
Yep.
Where
It just makes
I
a
was just
splat
like,
sound,
oh,
and then
fuck,
just-
and it
yeah.
just gushing out. And I took a picture. It's on Instagram of it coming out. And the next day, I had to fucking go through. My girlfriend wasn't home, and I was like, "Where's her makeup?" And I had to like put all this fucking
Oh
makeup
my
on my face for the
God.
audition. And I was like, I can't live like this. Like, I cannot keep putting makeup on for auditions. So now I have to like cut back on sparring. Plus, I couldn't remember words.
Yeah.
It was like really.
Well, you know what?
I
It does. It comes down to I never would spar, and they were like, "Why don't you come for sparring?" I was like, I don't feel the need to get beat on.
Yeah.
And I don't win anything. Like, if you're going to give me a trophy, I'll go to the store and buy a trophy.
Yeah, it's
So it
like-
doesn't mean shit, but
No.
it's a matter of, like, if you train hard enough and you're going hard enough, like, when we would go over, you know, we do kicking, okay? You're going over kicks. You
Yeah.
learn how to properly roll your kicks over and do all that shit. It would be so bad I would come home and my leg would just be black and blue all over the spot, and I couldn't walk the next day.
Yeah.
So my wife was like, "You need to stop doing this because what happens if you actually have to go and chase somebody? You're not gonna be able to run."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, I can't run anyway." But whatever. And I was just like, "I don't know why you're doing this."
Yeah.
But I would have bruises all over the time, and it was just like I want to do it, but I wouldn't spar because the same thing.
Yeah.
I ducked down, and I even said I was like, "Why did I do that?" But I ducked down, and it was just at the right spot, and they were coming up, and I just. Right in the middle of the nose, and it was like a splat sound, and I'm like, fuck. And
Yeah,
as I'm saying
I know.
fuck, there's blood coming down, and I was like, motherfucker. But then see, I don't have a proper attitude, so I was like, I go like into Rambo, like I'm bleeding my own blood. Now I'm fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
So then I just started fucking wailing on a dude, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore because I took it the wrong way.
Oh, but so-
it was no longer a fun time.
Sure. But here's a question, though, for real. Did that work out all right? Because usually, and I'm asking a real question, because usually when somebody gets pissed off like that, they end up getting hurt. Because,
I know when I shouldn't do something.
Yeah.
Like, reverse back to when we were talking about fucking haunted houses. I went to one haunted house, and those ones that they don't see and they jump out.
and you
I don't like to
punch
be scared. I get scared, I get pissed.
I scared you when you came down today.
Oh, yeah, he was hiding in the curtains. But no, a
Just goes,
guy,
hey, you weirdo.
yeah, a guy jumped out, like, in the middle of the night, like, jumped out, grabbed my shoulder, and I just fucking leveled him. And I'm like, I can't be here.
That's okay.
I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Greg Teichworth did that in high school.
You punched Greg Teichworth?
No, he went to a haunted house. And
I can't
some
do
guy
that.
Jumped out behind him, and he just
And then
punched
he
him in the face.
shit all over the guy.
And then he went to his house and shit on his toilet paper.
Yeah, but no, that's what I said.
We should have
I can't.
definitely went deeper into that weird thing. That's terrible.
No, you're right.
But I'm saying, but when I was training, like I said, when I would do that, it was different. Like when you would spar, you weren't going out like you're really competing.
Yeah.
You were just throwing some shit and trying stuff, and it was a way to be able to really throw a punch,
a
not
workout.
kind of check it. So you would do that. But after he hit me, I was like, I'm not in a good frame of mind. I really want to hurt you right now. So I'm like, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
That's fair. That's good to know. Why put yourself through that?
No.
Like, there's no.
No.
And also, I was like,
It's
I'm
not worth
fucking
it.
Almost 40 years old. Like, what am I fucking fighting for?
Yeah.
Like, I like the
Honor.
training, and for the honor,
Yeah,
know.
and that,
the honor.
But no, like I said, it's a good thing to know because, and that's what I always laugh at when you watch the videos on the internet and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, bar fight."
Yeah.
All you really have to do is learn how to block for about
See, that's
20 seconds.
where-
I know.
that's-
And the other dude, no one knows how to fight properly.
That's where a lot
so they're
of-
just la la. If you block for 20 seconds, they can't lift their arms anymore, and then you can just smack them
Yeah.
and make them look stupid.
Like, see, that's where a lot of my problems were. Is
Oh yeah, really? Oh jeez, you can't even say it without laughing.
We did Crocodile, and I'd be on the dance floor, and that's actually how I got into capoeira. I was attacked so much on the floor that I had to defend myself.
Now, when you-
And you were like, not
and
only do I
usually
feel
my
like-
lady's honor.
Now I know I feel like defending my laser. I feel like dancing while I do it.
Well, I would be dancing, and then it would be like, hey, I'd be shoved because I was a new kid in town trying to take the hottest girl at the bar away from.
So wait, now
the
when you
angry,
would-
abusive boyfriend.
No, when you would have to defend their honor, you defended it in a dance routine, or
It wasn't a routine. I mean, it's basic. It's
fully-
martial arts.
Okay, but it's is it improvised, or have you like?
I mean, it's not. I mean, they may think it's improvised, but to me, it's just
He's just flowing, bro.
It's timed.
Yeah.
It's timed technique.
Timed technique and-
it's. I don't know. It's just brutal death. I mean, it's only one or two shots.
So now coming as
Bam,
far
bam.
now being where you are in the capoeira community now,
For sure.
Do you ever go back to Croc Rock to be like,
Oh, I can't.
These are my.
I can't.
The building does not exist anymore.
Yeah, but there was when I
No,
went back.
they literally took the building away. It's
Yeah,
gone.
the building is gone, but what's left there is stained concrete, which is blood from my opponents.
Unbelievable. They should put a plaque there for you.
They did.
Oh, all right.
Yep, if you got time, go see it.
Now, I'm almost positive you know nothing about capoeira.
I know.
Listen,
There's like this sign.
He posts a lot of stuff about capoeira. I would have thought by now he would have read up on it.
I know.
Just to know something.
I've seen it in plenty of movies. It was in Never Back Down. It was in Never Back Down 2. It was in like
Never
a lot
Back
of
Down 3. Never Back Down 4, which is actually a TV
It was in
show.
It was in that Will Ferrell movie with
they want to poke
Will
fun
Ferrell
at it,
and Kevin Hart. No, Kevin Hart.
Oh, right.
He was in the beginning. He was
Yeah.
going there like, "What are you doing?" This is serious fucking shit, man. He's capoeira.
Yeah, what was the one where he had to like turn his house into a prison?
Yeah. That
Oh,
one.
Never Back Down 5.
No, that one. That's what I'm talking about.
I have the DVD here somewhere. Josh bought it for me for my birthday and signed it and like put like Never Back Down. Like
That's good.
We probably don't even have. We're probably coming close to when this is going to cut off.
Yeah.
But I had such a fun time doing this.
Me too.
This is
Thank you,
exactly
guys.
what I wanted to do because I haven't talked to you in so long, and I mean we've been back and forth on social media, but to get to sit down and catch up like that, and then it's even cooler to record it, and then I don't know. I told Jesse how awesome you were, and I feel like after you guys did your Facebook crap, you actually got along.
I wasn't arguing. To
I
begin
know,
with.
I know, but that's not what I was saying. But like by the end of it, I feel like I don't know. Like I wanted to show you how awesome he was, and the way you guys were conversating. Like you're a really good person, man. And
Are you trying to get us to make out?
No,
or-
what I'm trying to do is bring it back to when I used to compliment people, and now that I have somebody on,
Oh,
that I haven't
I
seen in a
don't
long
like this
time,
part.
That's how we're gonna end the
He used
show.
to, in the very first couple of shows, at the very end, he would just go, "So, like, listen." So, and he would go in this horrible breakdown. You feel really uncomfortable, and he did everything. And then when I did one for him, he was like, "That's stupid." And then we
Yeah.
stopped doing it.
But no, but in all seriousness, like there's pinnacle parts in my life that you've been a part of, and for some not odd reason, but there's always just been you've been a part of my life, like high school, and then the whole thing with Perkins. And I always tell that Perkins shit to people. I'm like, dude, like one point, me and my buddies just sit there and we would just get mozzarella sticks and craft soda. So to bring that full 360, and there would always be times when you would come home, and I wasn't doing this that me and you and DeLong got to come home, but to have you come home and then show you kind of like what I'm trying to do. And then to see what you're doing with like the improv, and that's so impressive, and even getting to the point where you're landing fucking commercials and shit like that. And I know what it's like to get you sober, and like that is some weird fucked up shit, and you can end up definitely just sitting in church basements. So the fact that you're doing all of this and have gotten your life to where you want it is, I don't know, man. Like I wanted to share that with other people because I definitely see what you're doing.
Yeah, and I love. I think what you guys are doing is awesome. I think this is the coolest thing. This had existed in Nazareth when I was growing up. Man, I would have had. There's just like you're opening up that world in a way.
Yeah,
you know?
but what's crazy is when we would always do our stuff, or like we would always be like bit ideas and like stuff like that. Like I always wanted to do that, and I feel like so did you genuinely. I mean, look what Josh Martin's doing. I mean, the people that were like really into doing that, I feel like creatively it bothered them until I found an outlet to just blah. That's why I was acting that way in high school and doing all that shit. I was just miserable. But now that like it's cool to see other people that like when we used to fuck around about stuff, and then the people that took it seriously and are trying to turn it into like an art form or a way to express themselves. It's awesome to watch people come up like that.
It is.
You look back at it, who did we hang out with? Most of the kids that we were hanging around, fucking around with, became musicians,
right?
And have we were talking about Pearls and Brass and all that stuff. And look at what Josh is doing, and you're doing, and I mean, Kate McCucci definitely didn't hang out with us.
That's true.
Super successful.
I don't know why. I mean, we were constantly screaming at each other and like hitting each other.
You know
in the
what I
balls.
always used
like?
to
Why wouldn't you want to hang out with them?
You know what I always used to love is making scenes in public, like doing something and you would be like, "Look here," or like playing the role of like the abusive person. I still do that sometimes. I like one of my other favorite things was pushing somebody into the underwear section at the mall and being like, "Pervert."
Yeah, I know. You used to do that constantly.
I got it every time I do it. Like Richard was always on guard eventually, or like he would like read a Bruce Lee book and then trip me. But anyways, man, like, I'm glad that you were able to come on our platform, and you're definitely going to get like some bigger movie roles because of us.
Bigger
for the tens.
A movie role would be fine.
No,
yeah,
but
we
I'm
totally
saying,
have talent agents.
I'm saying,
listen
we
to
could
our stuff.
probably, we'll talk to Marco Andretti and get you hooked up with,
I don't know how to drive a race car.
Nope, but he hangs out with Ludacris and Ice-T, and so do we. So we'll start pulling the strings. Jesse's the string guy, so if it doesn't happen, it's because of him.
Okay.
Did you want to end the show with something
No,
inspirational?
no.
I thought it would be nice to end it.
No,
in
we
that
have less than a
awkward
minute.
silence right there.
You could. Leave it like that.